Gay sex is what your dad likes to do. Gay sex is how you and your mom were made. Gay sex is in the Bible that I wrote. Gay sex is in the Bible that you read. Testing my mic. Testing my mic. Testing my mic. Gay sex is where you go to eat lunch. You eat lunch at the gay sex store. There's a store for just having gay sex.
Yes, thank you. It's perfect solution.
Yeah. Someone had the perfect solution?
Yeah, we're trying to get audio.
Yeah.
At Uproar.
Yeah.
We're trying to get audio from the second floor to the third floor of this venue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why don't we just transmit it wirelessly upstairs?
Uh-huh.
And everyone goes, oh, latency is going to be unacceptable. There's going to be so much latency, the delay, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, we're talking about 2 different floors.
Yeah.
If there's a half-second delay, you're not even going to be able to fucking hear it because you're on 2 different floors. It doesn't fucking matter if there's any latency. And everyone's like, but the latency, but the latency, but the latency.
I have an opinion, and my opinion matters.
Instead, we should run a 300-foot-long cable from the second floor all the way across, up the stairs, all the way across again, back to the tie-in patch, and then patch it into yet another mixer and tie it across that way, and tape this cable down, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like...
Someone at the front door?
No, just fucking everyone being chaotic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, by the time you run all that shit and patch it 3 different times into 3 different boxes and tape down a fucking 300-foot long, you're hitting a fucking half-second latency anyway.
Right. And it's like, and everybody's going to be drinking colorful drinks, and they're not gonna notice.
It's 2 different floors. We were running a DJ show up on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
They had a whole drag show on the fucking 2nd floor.
Yeah.
And you couldn't fucking hear the drag show unless you were standing on the landing. So bad news, if you are on the landing of the stairs, you will be able to hear a slight delay in the audio for the entire 0.5 seconds that it takes you to walk up that landing.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
End of the world. Unacceptable.
How do you... And welcome, everybody, to the free show of Regular Friends.
Are we recording now?
Oh, yeah. We've been going for like 5 minutes.
Oh, shit. Hello.
You can look at the screen there. You can see it better than I have. There's
Damn.
The live stream. Hello, chat.
I wish I wasn't just bitching about my friends.
That's okay. The live stream is there. We're also going on Instagram there. But Instagram doesn't have our sweet, sweet voices, which I hope are not being blown out. In fact, look at that red line right there.
Oops.
It does not like that. So let's speak normally. Frey.
Moo.
Now get excited and talk loud.
Ah!
Okay. Drain, same thing?
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic test.
Yeah. Now try to get someone's attention.
The Fitness Gram Pacer test! All right.
Peeking like crazy. So we're going to mute. That one doesn't need that.
The white zone is for loading and unloading only. We're recording.
We're going to put down the levels. It's going to be good. Matt has a workable mic now.
Maybe.
Do you want me to check?
Yeah, go ahead.
Testing.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, you're good now.
I think we're all good, yeah.
How far should I be?
You can move that mic, but yeah, you should be about a fist away from
3
it.
winks and a nod.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is the free episode of Regular Friends. It's going to be posted in many different places. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We're
Cling, cling.
Frey, Drain, and behind the production desk is Matt. And we're here for you guys. So if you guys got questions, we will gladly accept any super chats you want to do. And if you want to see how this conversation got started, join our Patreon. We talked about the beginnings of Fadelia. Some very fun stories, including how water came down 7 floors into a hotel. Don't miss that one. That one's you'll like this one.
Memories.
Oh, yeah. So let's pick up back where we were before. You're on the way through the very first year of Fadelia.
So you had asked me a question, and I wanted to give an answer.
Okay.
And then we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
You had asked me about day 1 of Fadelia. I have a very distinct memory of day 1 at Fadelia. Frey had been talking how our little townhouse that was like 5 miles from the hotel was full to the brim of cardboard boxes of all the stuff. We had everyone we knew who had any sort of vehicle come to the house, and one by one we pulled up a car, shoved as many boxes into it as we could. Nowadays we use a 26-foot box truck with a lift gate to achieve the same thing. It was pull up a car, fill it until you couldn't fit anything else, pull up the next car. We went down to the hotel and we packed everything into this DoubleTree, and everything was going. Now, I had management experience and like team coordination experience, so I knew enough about like how do you give people jobs and then get them to do that job. But I had never like run a convention before, and so everyone was coming to me and saying, "What should we do about this or that?" And I was just completely winging it. Like, I'm like, I guess we should do this or that. And then somehow it kept working. Every suggestion that I gave, like, worked. And so everyone just assumed that I, like, was really talented and really knowledgeable and I knew what I was doing. And I was just doing the fake it till you make it thing. And the thing I wanted to say was there came a moment very early on. We had been doing this for like a year and a half now, and it was just get asked a question, make up an answer, rinse and repeat. And we were setting up registration. Drain, how do we set up registration? I put the tables like this, put the laptops like this, let's get the merchandise in that spot, blah, blah. Everyone's like, wow, Drain really knows what he's doing. And I'm like... Literally,
it sounds like you're just giving common sense answers.
Literally, just like what makes the most sense.
The most
do that.
Uncommon.
And while we're sitting there setting up registration, this girl who like could not have been any older than like 19 and like couldn't have weighed anything more than 80 pounds walked up wearing like a green t-shirt and these comically massive ears on like a headband, and walked up and was like, "Excuse me, when are you guys gonna open registration?" And like it was the first time in the wake of like a year and a half of planning this endeavor that I was face to face with an actual customer, with an actual attendee who was giving us their money to be here. And like I felt my heart just drop into my stomach.
Really?
And I was just like, I literally felt like a chill down my back. And this thought just like popped into my head. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was just like, I've been faking it this entire time. My luck is going to run out. This is going to be a disaster. Everything is going to come crashing down. I'm going to be a massive failure. No one is ever going to trust me or want to be my friend ever again.
Really?
And all these thoughts rushing through my head, I just looked this girl in the eyes and I said, "We're opening Reg at 3 p.m. And she went, "Okay," and then she walked away.
Yeah.
And then I just turned to everyone else and I was like, I need a break. Walked back into the room we were using as like the office and had a moment. And then the event was fine.
Huh.
But that was probably like the most terrifying moment of my entire life.
Is someone else coming up to the product that you made
Yeah.
and selling and just
you-
asking
And
when?
you know what it was? Yeah, and like asking a standard question. And you know what it was is like the experience of setting up and running a convention was unique to me because it was a huge undertaking that I had we just thrown it together. We had just winged it. And it was like the most interesting thing that I'd ever done, and it was something that was made entirely for me. And at the time, I had just graduated college, right? And so everyone was like, "Oh wow, like you graduated college, like that's huge. That's such a huge undertaking, like blah blah blah." And well, yes, but no, because like everyone expected me to graduate college, right? The expectation was, I'm in college, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to get the degree. And when you get to the end of your college degree and you're at graduation, everyone's like, we're so proud of you, we're so proud of you. But at the end of the day, like you did what they expected you to do.
You
right?
show up, you take the test. It's not like grad school where you have to sit in front of a review board.
But even then, like even in any kind of school, when you start the schooling, there is a public expectation that what's going to happen is you're going to finish the schooling. Like you tell someone, I'm in college, everyone's going to assume you're going to complete it. You're in school, you're going to complete it, whether it's high school, college, grad school, doctorate, whatever. The general like opinion is, oh, you're going to complete it and you're going to get out of it. Nobody thought, or not, I shouldn't say nobody, but there was a lot of people who thought that Fadelia was going to be a failure. And not only a failure, but like a big failure. And the fact that we pulled it to the end of the line,
Yeah.
and it wasn't,
Yeah.
that was like some genuine, that was a genuine success.
I mean, we still have the feeling and of that almost heart drop when we get reviews and everything like that, because we take the public opinion reviews every year. We tell people at closing ceremonies, fill out the form, tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like, be honest, but don't be mean, be constructive. And we still get some stuff every year that we look at and we see and we're like, oh God, like we still get that feeling. It's kind of what makes our convention the way that it is because we still have a human reaction to when people don't like what we're putting on. It dependent, we can't please everyone, and if people are breaking the rules or doing something like that, that's a different story.
Right.
But genuine attendees who were there to have a good time, who didn't have a good time, yeah, we still take that to heart.
Tell me about a moment where you received real, helpful, constructive criticism and how it benefited Fadelia.
We've had that a couple times.
Real quick, one thing to say quickly about what I was just talking about that like heart dropping, oh God, here we go moment. Have you ever had, and I don't really do cars. I'm not really like a car guy. So I'm going to equate this to something that I feel like would be similar. Have you ever had a project car that you've spent like 2 years building this car and you've had a checklist? You're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. And you're going through, first I have to do this, then I have to do this so I can do that. And you've just got things to do. And there comes a time where all of the things to do have been done. All of the parts have been checked off. It's all complete. And you sit down in the driver's seat and you put the key in the ignition and it's kind of this, oh, like, here we go.
Please work.
Like,
Please work.
Yeah.
Please work.
Now's the time.
When
And
we
it's
were,
kind of scary.
Yeah.
It was like that.
It's weird because you mentioned the expectation of college, and from the perspective of a college student, it's that you bust your ass to get to that finish line, and the second it happens, everyone pats you in the back, and then there's this moment where it's like you're mentally shoved out a door into a street where everything you knew is gone.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, get a job now," and you're like,
Yep.
I I was so used to doing all of that.
It's
How do you go to this thing?
so it was definitely that kind of feeling is massive in regards to
You realize
all
the
of
small
us.
colleges.
It's not even just college. It's like all of us on the board, because all of us are pretty much the same. We lost a member of the board due to unfortunate circumstances. And life happens. Two actually. One just because they left. The other
Disagreement.
The other due to tragedy. But it was definitely an opening moment for all of us at that first year, where it was Drain had the heart drop moment about, oh, this customer is talking to me. This is a person that is expecting us to give us this entertainment throughout a 3-day period. I had a moment where we had someone have a pretty significant medical emergency the first year of the convention, and instead of having to turn around and look towards someone in charge of me, I'm now in charge. But it's not the real world. I don't have my ambulance with me. I don't have all that support. It's me, my guys that are listening to me, and that's the end of it. And I kind of just had to sit there and go, oh shit, yeah, this is real. I'm going to harness all of the stuff I learned from all the people who taught me at other conventions and just go with it.
Well, as far as medical, like you I guess for anybody who doesn't know, you're an EMT, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So even if you're like, oh, I'm not on duty, I don't have my equipment, I don't have this and that.
So it is.
But you have knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, at least the very least.
So, but that was the thing is we
communicate to the people who show up what the hell's wrong.
So just kind of like college, we kind of dropped in. Drain had a bunch of experience running events. They just weren't our own con. I had a bunch of experience working events and working on the street. It just wasn't our own. When you hit that, oh crap, this is ours, that's that moment where you're like, oh my God, what are we doing? I'm sure you can attest to that even more. The longer we go without the years, the more we realize, oh crap, this is ours.
I still have a brief moment of heart drop every time we sit down at the convention Thursday at 4 p.m. when we open pre-reg, and I sit down and I look at the crowd and I look at the security, and all of the security guys are staring at me, and I just go, let them in.
Yep.
Doors are open, and it's, oh boy, here we go. Please don't blow up.
It's crazy.
I want to move on from this because you asked about a moment that we had some genuine, very helpful criticism. You have an example of that? I've been trying to think about it in the back of my head.
And while you think about that, thank you so much. The super chat coming in from, what is that, Dave Ostroff. And Matt can see what we see. So if you see like a super chat pop up, just let us know there, Matt.
We also have a compliment on the regular coasters.
Fan of RCR made those. I'm not sure if they're a furry or not, but they're all 3D printed.
They look 3D printed.
I'd go back and look for super chats, but this is an Apple, and I don't know how to work it.
All you have to do is look at the screen. Thank you to everybody in the chat who is listening to this. And let me just check something. While you think of those moments of criticism, let me double check that OBS is in fact doing. I mean, I know we're looking at the YouTube screen, and I know people are there. But if there's people actually in the chat watching this, I apologize for not paying attention to the chat. But just call me a wiener. If anybody's in the chat, just call me a wiener, just so you know I'm there. Let me just check.
Do it.
OBS is still doing its thing.
No wiener comment. Yeah,
it's still doing its thing. Okay.
There we go.
It's
starting to happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A wiener is you.
Thank you, Wiener Brian. Thank you so much. That you're.
All right. So,
show us that.
When did we have what was a really good,
like a really good one? We have a lot of
really
small,
good piece of criticism.
Dickhead.
And someone said you should do this, and we did.
How are levels, by the way?
Stuff.
Yeah.
Super chat with the word wiener.
See, that's a very hard question to answer, because a lot of the times the people that come to us with actual legitimate, really good ideas wind up in staff positions and wind up making it happen themselves, because they'll come to us and say, hey, I think that you should be doing this, and our response is, that's awesome, we're short staffed, do you want to do it? And their response typically is, yeah, great, will you let me? And our response is, yeah, we'll let you, come on in.
Nice.
And we have had that happen a couple times.
A lot of them have been in terms of events. People will say, you guys should have a panel about this or that.
Yeah, it's a lot of events.
And we say, good idea. Do you want to do that? Or not even. Usually we say, good idea. You're doing that now.
Yeah, just command them.
You want it to exist? Balls in your court.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, none of us get paid.
Of course,
The entirety of our con staff do not get paid. None of us take a paycheck. None of us even get a stipend. In fact, we spend money into the convention to make sure it works.
Mm-hmm. And I can understand that, having been involved with the Appalachian Trail for the past 5 years. All of those people, no one's getting paid doing anything.
Mm-hmm. No.
In fact, the only people who are really lucrative in the whole thing are probably people who do what I do, which is shuttle driving, driving people around. But to put things in perspective, it costs about $8,000 to $10,000 to hike the Appalachian Trail in completion, adjusting for current inflation. So it's about $2,000 a month, which is, I suppose, if someone wanted to attend nearly every furry convention back to back, it would probably be about that.
Depends on how much you fly for.
Right, yeah.
But probably.
I remember this one guy. Now, we're going back a while, into the 2000s. There used to be this guy who would go to furry conventions, and I've seen him at multiple ones. He was an older gentleman, maybe about 5'3", tiny guy.
I assume he wore something distinct.
Yes. He had a helium balloon tied to his belt and would just sort of wave
was in fashion
around
at the time.
Yeah.
Never saw that.
But what was bizarre about him
Besides
was that where is he getting helium in different cities? You can't take a canister on the plane.
He brings it from home.
Does he drive it?
Party City.
Party City?
Yeah.
Oh.
You get the keg of helium.
Not even Party City. Any store that sells grocery stores have
and
helium.
every grocery store with a florist has a place that fills balloons. They usually have a helium canister.
Yeah.
Also, just for the sake of the chat, they're saying that your mic is much hotter than theirs. It's probably because you're closer.
Oh.
Just keep that in mind. Either they move closer or you move yours further away.
Okay, Matt, you see the XLR inputs there, how they have different colored tape?
Yep.
You see how mine has a red tape on it? So I'm the one under the red. Just slide it down one notch. There we go.
Who's in Grandma's house? Whose Grandma's house are they in? Do you want to answer that? It's in the chat.
Whose Grandma's house are we in? It's my house. I bought someone's grandma's house. And am I modernizing it? Fuck no. And once we have some proper lighting, because you can see even now with a studio light on us, we're still kind of dimly lit. And the basement's even dimmer.
We kind of got the camping lights going on.
And again,
right?
as a guest, I will fully say that I respect that. One is that the previous owners abandoned so much stuff here from their grandma, like furniture.
Yeah, everything we're sitting on came with the house, with the exception of
when
this
we bought our
folding chair.
house, it was the exact same way.
Yeah.
They left everything.
If there's a way you can broadcast from your bar, the public needs to see that carpet.
I was telling him to do this.
We have no problem with bandwidth because there's the router is right there, and the bar is directly below us. So we have no problem with Wi-Fi down there. The question is lighting, and I can solve that with the question is me getting better cameras, because these cameras are all from like 2018. So
you hear that? Start donating.
You hear that? Subscribe to our Patreon.
Give Mr. Regular your money.
Let's get some better cameras in here and get the show going. So I can have
super chat with the word balls.
Yeah, someone's. Yeah, and if you send super chats, we will ask it. So if you're just joining us for the podcast, we have the chair of Furrydelphia and Drain and the head of security, Frey.
We call it public safety.
Yeah, we call it public safety because we
Roger
don't.
Security is a scary word.
Yeah. We also do like 400 things, so.
Bob says the sofa in the background looks like a warm hug. It is indeed, and I have more mics coming so we can have the podcast
covered
over
in
there.
Tiny little pillows.
Yeah.
Teeny tiny ravioli pillows.
And ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The small pillows are hilarious, but also remind me of my grandpa.
Yeah.
Which is
Grandpa's
what makes it so
pillows.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're 6 years old and eating a bag of M&Ms.
Grandpa's pillows sounds like a New Hope, Pennsylvania small shop. Come on down to Grandpa's Pillows.
Grandpa's Pillows is a New Hope-based brewery, a microbrewery.
Oh, yeah, that could work too.
Grandpa's
They only
Pillows.
make IPAs, and people are sick of them.
Yeah.
I'm immediately sick of it.
Yeah. Man. Okay, so for people outside the U.S., we're referring to. Oh wow! Oh, it's Matto. Hell, Matto. This is our fixer from Australia. Matto has a question that I can't read from here. Matt, what's Matto
it
saying?
says, it's unfortunate, but all the events we actually want to do never pay as much as you need them to. Oh, there's another super chat came in. It's pushing it out of the way. And you're almost always saving your money throughout the year for that one event.
Yeah.
And he gave a super chat, $30.99.
Wow. Australian. So Matto.
Exchange rate.
Yeah. And this is one thing about YouTube. People will donate.
And somebody from Sweden with SEK.
Yeah,
you don't
SEK, whatever SEK.
I thought that's Sweden, isn't it? I thought it was kroner.
If that's Swedish kroner, 50 Swedish kroners from Bob, and he says balls with a Z.
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah.
Donate us 50 more and tell us where that country is.
Old school with the Z on the end.
You can donate in any currency from anywhere. You don't have to do it from in the currency where you're from.
Bob, come to Pennsylvania in the next 20 minutes if you want pierogies.
Man, I can go for some pierogies.
I don't have the time to make them right now.
I'll make some next time.
We should have an extra Pennsylvania podcast where it's just soft pretzels, pierogies, and just everything's bullshit.
Yeah, we need
Don't forget the cheesesteaks.
I mean, the pierogies aren't specifically just Pennsylvania, because I grew up in north-ish Jersey, and my whole family and my mother's side's Polish, so we had pierogies.
Yeah.
I mean, Linden itself is just little Poland.
Yeah, you can get Mrs. T's anywhere.
True.
You're going to make Frank crash out.
About Mrs. T's
Frozen
pierogies?
pierogies are a sin against God.
mentioned
Unless you're
Satan.
in college, just make them.
Okay, how do you make them? Do you air fry them? Do you boil them? Do you fry them?
You boil them until they're done because you make your own dough, and then you pan fry them with onions and butter.
You boil them
With a
until
little
they
bit of
float.
crispiness on each of the flat parts of the pierogi.
So if you boil frozen ones and then drain the water and then just mix in sour cream and chives.
That you're a monster and should be punished for your crimes.
What you boil them until they
glad
float.
My dad will never watch this.
Once they're floating, you boil them until they float, and then once they float, you spoon them right into a pan.
He likes them soft, so he skips the fry part. Squish.
Why?
That's tragic.
Why? Our families from Poland escaped to have good pierogies, and
He's
here we
Irish,
are.
so-
Oh, well, that doesn't count then. They have their own food.
The Tullamore is strong with this one.
What does the one Kia say there, Matt?
Oh, I'm sorry.
At the very bottom.
The one KEA.
Yeah.
Ishka Bibbles is the best Philly cheese. Oh, it says cheesecake, but
Cheesecake.
That's probably autocorrect. Cheesesteak. Ishka Bibbles is on South Street. I've been there. They have a weird grape soda based drink there. I think it's called the Gobbler or the Gibbler. But yeah, I've been there. Ishka Bibbles makes a really good cheesesteak. I'll have Pat and Gino's shit is just for tourists.
Yeah.
I mean, none of
agree
us
with
want
you on
Pat and Gino's.
Gino's.
Jim's
Correct.
was good, but then they had a fire.
But if you're-
I don't know if they're open again.
If you're down by South Street and you're that close to John's Roast Pork that you wouldn't just go there.
Yeah,
yeah.
The roast pork is the unsung hero, especially if they have the fresh horseradish. The kind where you say, "We'll put a scoop of horseradish on and it blows the top of your head."
I mean,
yeah.
that's good.
Believe it or not, there's a newer place that opened up right next to our convention hotel. You can literally walk out the door, be under covering almost the entire time to get into it, and those guys are within the top 10 now.
Yeah, well, actually, I'll admit, the last time I went to the convention,
What the hell was the
in
name of
Valley
that
Forge.
place?
Where are you guys?
I don't even know.
We're in the Sheridan Valley Forge, not Valley Forge anymore. We're in the
Philadelphia.
Sheridan downtown
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
it's like
It's at 17th and Arch
when
Street.
you were at Valley Forge. You were because I live right near here, wherever here is. I'm not gonna
Lansdale-ish,
I'm not gonna dox
more
Brian.
or so, but not really.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's
no,
like
Montco,
super
Greater
easy to
Montco.
get- super easy to get to Valley Forge, but downtown is a bit of a you're definitely taking the train. It's like how many pistols do you want to take?
Heh.
Philly's not even that
I
bad.
will
not
not.
bad.
He said the code phrase. Philadelphia is not a dangerous city.
It's not.
Spoken, anyone who says Philadelphia is dangerous, you have never set foot in Philadelphia. You've probably never set foot in any city anywhere.
Yeah.
If you think Philly is dangerous, okay. There is one spot in Philadelphia. It's called Strawberry Mansion. And that is where you don't particularly want to be after dark. But even Strawberry Mansion, I have driven through there, walked through there. It's fine.
Strawberry Mansion is amazing because during the day you've got the cowboys. I don't know where the horses are stored, but there's guys.
They
on
made a
horseback.
movie about it.
There's
Yeah,
guys on
it looks, like,
horseback.
amazing. The guys
There's a movie about it
people
now.
just
It's
ride
got
on
what's his
horseback.
name, Idris Elba in it.
Yeah, so
They made a whole
I
movie.
used to live in Mayfair, which is so far removed that it's like, you don't get any cool stuff. You just get the crap.
It's just crazy that people think like Philly's crazy, but
It's
that like
as
Center
dangerous as
City,
any- it's as
Chinatown, and the
dangerous as any
neighborhood are
city.
fine.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
all
like
fine.
wearing a
South
seat-
Philly's fine.
I mean, the
Graduate
old
Hospital
city's
is
fine,
fine.
Fishtown is fine.
University City is
It's like
fine.
wearing a seatbelt. Just take an extra care for that 1% of the time where something might go wrong, but 99% of the time, just get yourself a cheesesteak
Yeah.
and go to.
There is
go to Franklin Fountain.
nothing to be afraid of in Philadelphia.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Philadelphia has never had an incident with someone getting in trouble in town. Now, maybe this is my interpretation of it, but since Philly has a reputation of being rough and wild,
They do have that reputation.
when people leave the hotel to go for a walk down, down through Center City, people who aren't specifically from Philadelphia will have 10 toes down and be very, very aware of what's going on.
Or they won't be.
Quick super
Okay.
chat call out before it scrolls off the screen. Iron Gate donated $5 and says, "Review the Chevy Cruze." I'm going to say that the Chevy Cruze was reviewed. It was mine. And I
Yes.
sold it after he reviewed it. It was on Race to the Bottom.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I donated that specifically for the Roman to review for Race to the Bottom because I'd driven it for years, and it deserved to be a Race to the Bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Thank you
agree.
for the $5, Iron Gate.
Gonna agree fully with
Yeah.
Big John Deluxe. Philly has worse potholes than crime. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the news is going to show you what happens every day in Philly and make it look horrible. We walk.
Unless you watch Philly news.
Yeah, unless you watch Philly news.
If you watch Philly news, all right, we'll wait for
Okay,
him to finish.
Channel 6 Action News theme. That's one thing to hear that. If you need to look up the entire song.
Move closer to your
Welcome
world.
to
Yeah,
your
it's
world.
move closer to
It's
your world.
move closer to your
Move
world.
closer. Yeah, I can't remember the lyrics.
The thing is, other news from other cities will show you that. But news from Philly will cover everything wonderful happening, such as guys who eat entire rotisserie chickens on piers and invite the entire community to participate.
Did you
Or a
see the-
furnace
Collect
party.
your bones and you're fine. Hey, Uncle 76
Do attend.
just asked you, Brian.
Yes,
Yeah.
do attend.
Is there any plans for an RCR car meet this year?
Yes, we're talking to. We're going to have one at Too Many Games. Again, we're not sure where we're going to be. Last time we overfilled our parking lot at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center.
You want to do the Philadelphia one again?
We'll talk.
Cool.
Was that the one in the parking garage? I saw the footage.
Yeah.
On the
Looked
roof.
pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
I should take the LTD down.
That would be. I have something that you may want for your LTD.
Is it a Bush Quail 88 sticker?
That would be fantastic. And actually,
Dakota
since we're doing
cocaine
video,
filled
I can go
briefcase.
get it. It's right now in the Today. Don't spoil it,
damn,
Fred.
I
You
have
know what
something
it is.
for you.
Yeah.
Oh, we
It's
have
a-
So I have a
It's
friend.
a rainbow hologram K car license plate.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring it with me. I'll bring it next time.
We must do something now. I have a friend who's watching, who's not in the chat, but from Kansas City, and he responded to me, "Y'all scared to talk about barbecue? KC got you." I mean, that's awesome.
KC got
that's
us.
awesome, but we won the Super Bowl.
40-6, go Birds!
Go Birds!
Belt to ass, blow the whistle.
I've been in Kansas City several
Fuck
times.
the refs.
The beef tips, the burnt ends are really good. But Lansdale does have Wisters, which is
Haven't
They
been
were
there.
very good.
that's North Carolina. It's a little more North Carolina, but
So I love Carolina
all
barbecue, though.
All
So
barbecue, it's like loving all your children. All barbecue is good. It's all. Just
I
a
mean, we
little
got
different.
good barbecue in Philly too. We have a fairly decent population of folks who make decent barbecue. Like
Yeah.
it's like of all places. We have Argentinian, we have Brazilian. Other than we have Kansas City barbecue. That's awesome. But like, is it all Kansas City barbecue? So I can point.
sure
We got
there's bad
Japanese barbecue,
Hey,
Korean
there
barbecue.
Are probably bad cheesesteaks in Philly, just no one goes there. They're not
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a Yeen idiot. Love your name. $20 super chat. Loving the podcast, Brian. Throw this at the mortgage on the birdhouse.
Well, thank you so much. I
damn.
appreciate
Go
you.
Birds.
Go Birds. I appreciate
Somebody
that.
below that said
I
"Go
forget,
Birds"
are you a
as well.
secretary bird? What are you again?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm
Seagull,
remotes.
seagull.
Unless you
Starting
have
mine.
unless you have curly fries, I'm not a seagull. No, remote doesn't have a species.
Just generic.
I've
bird.
said this before, but I love telling the story. I made Remote to be dress me up bird time. Depending how you dress Remote, he looks like a different bird. But there is no species. It's a white body with yellow legs, a yellow beak, but the beak is like a raptor beak, but the eyes are friendly. Depending on how he's dressed or what I'm doing, it looks like a different bird. But because furries are furries, they're like, no, you have to be a species and you have to pick something. And eventually someone went, actually, you're an albino kestrel. And then they pulled up a picture, and later on we'll have a producer statement. You can pull up well, you guys got phones. What an albino kestrel looks like and tell me that's not Remote. And I'm like, fuck you, you figured it out. You put all of these strange things together, and I'm like, okay, that's what it is.
It's like Charlie on the string board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, the amount of birds that are out there, you're gonna find one that matches.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them.
My species
Not as many,
is
not as
dead.
much as bugs, but there is a lot of birds.
I have terrible cell reception in your house.
It's all the chicken wire in the
same.
walls.
You're in a trifecta of high tension lines.
It's
from
a
the-
tiny
From
falcon.
the, from the local, we have a nuclear power plant not far away. There's high tension lines everywhere. AM radio doesn't come in here. Your cell phone reception's not going to move.
My cell phone works perfectly fine in my house.
Where's the
And I live
Japanese
10
barbecue?
minutes
It's
away.
over in Chinatown across the Vine Street Expressway. What's the
yeah,
name of
well,
that place?
Gyukaku,
Gyukaku.
which we badly need to go
Actually,
back
going
to.
back a bit, because you guys, is the Sheraton near Chinatown?
It
Yes.
is.
Okay, 'cause there's 100
I mean,
places that
it's
are
like
great.
6
2
blocks
blocks?
away.
Oh,
No,
6
it's like
blocks.
6 blocks away.
But again,
We're
it's
at
a
18th.
walkable city.
We're at 18th and
the-
Chinatown's at 12th.
Throw out the name of the cheesesteak place you were talking about that was near the hotel.
Cleavers.
No, well, the Cleavers is what he likes. The place that's... I'm going to look it up now. There's a place that's pretty much attached
Okay,
to our car.
literally right next to the hotel is an
If you're gonna talk
apartment.
good about it, you gotta throw a name out so people.
Literally
know.
right next to the hotel, there's an apartment building, and when they opened the hotel, they put this horrible burger joint in there with like dry burgers, where it was like, oh, eat this
Oh, yeah.
burger,
Yeah.
$22, doesn't include French fries.
Ew.
Shays.
Shays Steaks. That's right.
S-H-A-Y.
The burger place lasted about 37 seconds, and then they closed down, and this cheesesteak place opened up, and it's called Shays Steaks.
It's phenomenal.
They do a very interesting thing where you get to pick the type of beef that you want,
Correct.
and
Really?
which I've never seen that
So
before.
it's not ribeye. It's like whatever you want.
Well, you
Whatever
can-
you want. There's
yeah.
there's like 8 different options
That is interesting.
of different meat, and it's priced differently too. So like if you want, you can go cheap, you can go expensive. And then so you choose what type of cheese, you choose what type of beef, you choose what type of roll, and then you choose all your toppings and you throw it together, and it's anywhere from like $16 to $25 depending.
So
on the
I
type
have
of
gotten
beef
their
you go
most
for.
expensive cheesesteak. It was some form of very, very good
Filet.
beef, and no, it wasn't filet. You don't want
Filet
filet.
wouldn't
It's not
work.
fatty enough. It would
No,
probably get
no.
dry. Yeah.
Filet is a great carrier of sauces and nothing more. But we're not doing cooking now. We're talking cheesesteaks.
I don't know. It's a cooking show now.
Well, we can go there if you'd
Regular
like.
food reviews.
Yeah. Move
So
the cameras into the kitchen.
So it's some form of
kitchen's
it's like
amazing.
dry aged ribeye that they cut in a very specific way. I actually was there when they got their meat order in. They do have a dry ager. Awesome. Like the guy's super chill. Like we shoved a bunch of talking animal gay people in his place. He was like, "This is great."
awesome.
Made a cheesesteak after us. Like
in a suit, you must have money for food.
more than 3 nowadays.
I
Bud.
wish suits still cost $3,000.
Yeah, you can tell last time I looked at.
So I got the most expensive cheesesteak that was there. 100% worth it. Don't get it every day, but if you're going to come to our con and only be in the city for a little bit and you're not willing to drive to Angelo's, which has been rated and I can confirm is one of the best in the city.
Cleavers gang. Cleavers gang.
Is also good,
Shout out
but Shays, if you're going to be at the
Cleavers
con and you
rocks.
don't want to walk anywhere, go to Shays. You can literally crawl there if you're drunk. Get the most expensive cheesesteak. Get what you want on it. It is 100% worth it. Get that crap. Open it up while it's still steaming. Burn your mouth and eat that. It is phenomenal.
I got a little
Someone
bit-
just says
it's
they're
not a-
dying
Yeah,
and
it's
doing
not
the
a
laughing
super,
emoji.
It's not a super chat, but Big John Deluxe has a great username.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a place has stupid ass Edison bulbs and stiff, uncomfortable stools, get out. I'm gonna add get the fuck out. I'm
I mean,
sure
this
that-
place.
But this place is at the grandma's house here is full of very overstuffed, comfortable chairs.
Are we talking
Yeah.
about Shays? Uncomfortable stools and stuff? Nah, man. Like, they put that in because that's what millennials go for. You have to know your audience. They're in a giant apartment complex that has its own miniature basketball court. The food's good. The
Was
guy's from South Philly. He hired someone to decorate his restaurant for him. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, my job is food. Your job is decorating.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
This dude texts
Thank you,
me
food
and
champion.
Says, fuck you. He texts me and says, bring me a drink. I'm like, okay, fine.
I had
What did you
Tullamore
find?
Dew right here.
That's Giulio Gallo wine.
Do you
No,
not
it's-
like Tullamore
It's
Dew?
gin and ginger ale.
Do you
It's
not?
double gin.
Oh, gin and
Gin.
jerk.
Yeah, just
Gin
just
ginger.
a little splash.
I was going to say, I brought Tully Dew for apparently just me.
Irish whiskey makes me
Thank
do
you.
things I
Would it
regret
be-
later.
Would it be bad to have you
Nonsense.
Would it be bad to have you pour that into this empty beer
Come
bottle?
pie.
I would... Well,
We have a new super chat. I have a gay French-Canadian friend who lives in Western Massachusetts.
I am not
Pour a little bit.
who
fucking
wore
pouring Tullamore Dew
pastel
into
Oxford shirts and drove a red cruise without the hatch. Boy, what a character. What do you think, LOL? Or how does this person relate to the car? Brian. Well, we'll let him know when he comes back.
The Chevy Cruze, from having a few years with it, I found the stick shift one
We don't know anything about
That
Chevy Cruises here.
it has the most. It's like they programmed the car to run on an automatic, and they just didn't change the programming for a stick. It was as soon as you would put the clutch in, the engine computer would freak out and drop all boost.
Any thoughts,
yeah.
Frank?
I mean, I owned one,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, with the
I
stick.
owned one
Now,
in stick.
Did you trifecta tune?
I didn't do anything to
Yeah,
it because
I-
I hated it. I
I-
immediately got rid of it.
I did a trifecta tune on it, and then suddenly it would pull like a maniac in third gear, and I blew the turbo out. I blew the wastegate out of the turbo.
No, I didn't even have. No, I had the base model. It didn't
Yeah.
even have cruise
I
control.
was-
So
and I was on the turnpike coming back from a friend's house in Allentown, and I wasn't going that quick, but an Audi TT and a BMW like 3 Series were blasting by, and I just had this like gump, like no, I got a tailgate behind these guys, and apparently being in fourth gear with the pedal down for more than 10 seconds, that was the end of that turbo. So that was a $2,000 mistake right there. Yeah, Chevy Cruisers were not meant to go 115 miles an hour. It was.
I mean, Chevy Cruisers are meant to get you from church
Yeah,
to home.
Before that, it was a perfect. I mean, I drove that thing all over the damn place. It was perfectly fine for an economy car. It just, they painted it red, put a spoiler on it, and it made it look like it should be a GTI, and it was slow as shit. So, and it couldn't corner with a damn.
I mean, it just sounds like you had buyer's regret and should have got a Corolla. But,
I had
you know.
a Jetta, and I should have kept the Jetta. And Brian's making a face right now because he heard the word Jetta.
Yeah. I'm coming around on the Jetta.
It's been
Because the niece-
it's the driver of the Jetta, not the car. It's
Yeah.
like Altimas.
Yeah,
You-
but the Altima pushed the Jetta out of the hate wagon corral, but now even the Altima, I think, is
Yeah,
going
Brian,
away. The Sentra's
your
going
super
away.
chat was inundated with a question about a gay Quebecois from Western Mass who was driving a cruise.
I mean, the cruise is like you can't afford a Civic. It's just
Yeah, PA
that's the
towers.
way I look at it.
I
Yeah.
bought GM for so many years because every time I went to buy a replacement car, they were cheap, and that's why you buy a Chevy.
Grown maintenance GM.
PA
And to
duppers,
be
exactly.
fair, whenever you could fix the shit yourself from Rock Auto with AC Delco parts for $15.
Well, that is true.
That's about
When you
it.
got
It's-
AC
if you're
Delco
willing
to
to do
work
your
with,
own
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
PA dubbers.
Yeah.
But now we're going back into cars.
God,
Bad,
hold on.
Matt. Bad.
Have any of you gentlemen been to Village Whiskey on South 20th Street in Center City?
That sounds like a you question.
It's called Village Whiskey. Now I want to go.
I have not been there, but we should plan a time to do that.
Have you been to
What's the laundry place?
Hop
Hop
Sing
Sing.
I've
Laundromat?
heard of it. I've never tried.
I still want to go.
I've heard it's hard to get in.
It
is
is.
hard to get
Yeah,
in.
it's one of those like they check your like if they don't like your sneakers or something. They're like,
Correct.
"Get the fuck out."
If
Wow.
you're not allowed to wear sneakers,
No.
it's formal attire.
It's cash only. And like the guy at the door can literally like make an excuse for you not to get in. It's
Damn.
awesome. It's awesome. Cash only, no phones. Like turn your phone off when you go in. If you get caught with a phone taking photos of the inside, you're banned for life.
Really? Shit.
Like their ban list is longer than reasons to like play in traffic after finding weird diagnoses. It's so long.
And you
But it
got
sounds
in?
like they make a
I have not
amazing
gotten in
cocktail.
yet.
We've
no.
never tried.
We have a friend who got in
It's
Okay.
a place where you're supposed to talk to people and
and drink really good cocktails.
And have great cocktails, and I would like to go sometime.
There's so many good bars in Philly though. Like drain your one of your favorites, Tippling Place.
Tippling
I know you
Place.
also
I'm
like.
tippling. Love it.
I
I love how you go in there and you'll ask for a drink and there's no telling what type of glass it's going to show up in. Mm-hmm. It feels.
Oh.
Yeah,
I like that it's
amazing.
just a house.
I love a place that looks like they went to a thrift store and bought everything they owned and went, it's good enough. Every plate's different. Every cup's different.
What's
Yeah.
Every chair is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rugs are all different. It's one Tippling Place is literally a house
has
that
no
got
sign on the door. This is one
no,
of those
you have to
places.
know that the door is it.
I can deeply appreciate the free.
We
cycling.
showed up at like 5:30 when they opened. By 5:45, the place is jammed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Calgary, I remember the Suzuki SX4 when they first brought it out. I thought it was a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
And
What,
then just long-term Suzuki's just inability to stay in the market's what killed it.
What's
Oh,
the
dear.
Armenian bar?
Where's the Suzuki Jimny? Why don't we have the Jimny?
There's
here?
someone with a
It's
Jimny for sale in
one
Monaco.
second.
No, like a new, like a
An old
Yeah,
trademark
the new
Jimny?
one. Yeah.
Like,
So there's
Right next to Cuba Libre.
there's a Cuba
It's
Libre.
not Armenian. It's
No,
they're,
it's Algerian.
yes,
Algerian bar.
But it's not a. It's a hookah lounge / cocktail bar.
But they're trying to put Algerian
okay,
food
is
in.
it- Is anybody at this table smoked from a hookah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
how's that differ than what's it like?
It's water vapor, not smoke.
Okay, so it's
Well,
of,
there's-
kind
it's-
of vaping.
Kind of. So like
It's a
hookah.
big bong.
The
that you
entire
put-
Middle East
yeah.
would like a word with you.
I'm
So
from America, man. Like,
hookah.
it's
So
the-
like
it's the
think of
cigars.
hookah of. This is going to sound really weird and probably offend a lot of people, but think of hookah as the Korean barbecue experience of smoking a cigarette.
Oh,
So everyone's
that
getting,
offends me.
that's getting their nicotine intake with a fun flavor in a group around a center object.
Yes.
And it's
So
it's
is
so
it the Korean hot pot.
It's
but I
ha-
like
it's
Mongolian
it's
barbecue.
it's like a hash that goes in the top.
Not
and you put
hashisha.
but it's
Hashisha's
I'm
got
trying but I'm trying to use words that American people know what they mean.
It's not
It's
weed.
a goop. You take a goop.
It's weed.
You take a goop and you put it in a bowl, and a charcoal puck that's on fire goes on top, and you have a hose that goes down into a water bowl, and when you inhale, you pull in the vapor that comes off of it. So you're it's not smoke, it's vapor, and it doesn't taste like tobacco. It tastes like
Your selected
fruit or
flavor.
whatever the flavor
Like
is.
sex on the
so
beach.
it kind of
Yeah.
is. It's closer to vaping than it is to smoking, but it's kind of like analog vaping. It's like you're using a charcoal
vacuum
puck.
tube vaping, if you will.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
using a charcoal puck rather than like a battery.
If I was at a restaurant,
Now you're talking
I
about
had-
kink stuff.
It's
We gotta go
also
back to
very
the-
social.
we
You're
gotta go
supposed
back
to
to
pass
the
the thing
Patreon.
around a bunch.
As an old asthmatic, I'm like,
Oh, vacuum
anything
tubes like the
with smoke or
radios.
vapors always
Oh.
made me lose it. I'm like, I just stick with gummies.
Fair enough. But it's also an excellent cocktail bar.
So what's the name of that place?
That place is called Infusion Lounge.
Infusion in old
Infusion Lounge, right next to Cuba Libre.
Old City, Philly.
Oh,
that
Cuba
place is
Libre.
phenomenal.
The chocolate cigar dessert, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, Cuba Libre, but
Good luck
next to
getting
it,
into Cuba
Next to
Libre.
next to it is
That's why
another
somebody
phenomenal
parents for their
place.
anniversary. I want the chimney. Shout out
See,
to
but that's
Ghost
it's
Beer
funny
and
because
Manny. I
we
guess
kind
Ghost
of
Beer
like
and Manny on
we
Christmas
started with
Day.
talking about Philadelphia,
It
but
is.
then
Who said
devolved
that?
into
Yeah.
talking about Philly.
Lance has
And that's
entered
really
the-
kind of the thing
Big
that we
John
love
Deluxe.
about
Big
Archon
John
is
Deluxe.
we
Yeah,
are
that
so
Lance has
Philly.
entered the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
We are
Who's
so
entered the chat?
Hi, Lance. Pretty sure
Hey.
I'm 99% that Big John Deluxe is Lance because he just shouted out the goat's beard and Maniac.
Yeah.
And yesterday he
Who is
was
Love
just
Machine?
orgasming to me about goat's beard and Maniac. Oh my God, goat's beard and Maniac, best place ever. It's the best. It's so amazing. You have to go there.
I have never heard anybody do Lance, and you just did him.
I don't care what it is.
Oh,
I don't care what
not in the
it is.
biblical
I just-
sense.
I'm
Lance
throwing-
has to come
I'm
back
throwing
on the
ideas.
show to talk about the scare body adventure
Oh my god.
when they went down to buy that
Alright,
thing.
hang on. How much has everyone been drinking at this point?
I've
A lot. Keep
I've had-
drinking.
The escape room is still open for 40
I was
minutes.
gonna
We should-
say, are
should
we
move the
going
live stream to
somewhere?
the Escape room.
Yeah. I need.
Big John is Lance.
I knew Big John is Lance. Big John has to be Lance.
Love Machine, who are you?
Love Machine is Holly.
Calling you out.
literally watch.
Doxing our
I
friends.
mean, there's so many furries here. I'm like, hi.
Doxing and friends. Doxing and friends.
Did I never told this on the stream, but one time I was on F list on my FA, and you
F list.
yours, and I.
Oh my god!
Shit looks amazing.
I'm
Like,
gonna
it's me.
crash.
No.
out.
That's not what I said.
It's
So
the crazy dinosaur man.
So I was on F list, and I know your character, but you didn't know my AD character. And I said, "When are you gonna fucking finish your LTD, Matt?"
I was
You
like,
know?
and the thing is, as soon as you said, it, I was like, "Oh, hi, Brian."
Yeah.
I have a crazy F list related thing.
Oh, please.
F list is.
It involves
it's
you.
terrible.
so old.
It's-
Oh, we're just going into F
It
list
involves.
now?
It involves. It involves you.
It involves. Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
I know
Oh,
specific
shit.
people who are only there.
I don't know
and
if you
wanna
want me
keep
to
in
talk
touch with
about
them.
that. On
Let's-
your
But
let's-
the place is full of underage shit, and it just creeps me the
I know.
fuck
I know
out.
it is.
It's
That's
so
bad.
bad.
What's our timestamp, Matt?
Where the fuck do I find that on here?
Never mind. We are at
23.98 frames per second.
no.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
CPU
good
is-
timestamp,
your
buddy.
We are at
Your-
50.
Your CPU is 14.7%.
We are at
50 minutes.
Timestamp 50. For
We've
So
got-
how long do we typically do these for?
An
well,
hour.
now we've been going at for a while, so we'll finish when we
So,
finish.
all right, so
No, I
let's...
want to hear this story.
So-
The
Oh,
episode.
it's-
I'm
it's
just
a-
saying
it's-
at the timestamp at 50, so I can clip this.
It's a really brief story. So I had a guy come up to me before Philadelphia. You're our guest of honor. Came up and he said, "Oh, so you got Mr. Regular from Regular Car Reviews as your guest of honor this year, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's a friend. He lives close by. Like, we thought he'd be cool." And he goes, "Yeah. I used to RP with that guy back in the day on F List." And I was like,
Okay, go on.
I was like, okay. And he started going on.
Tell me
He
what
start,
he said.
I'm going to be real. I kind of
Tell
don't
me.
really remember.
Oh.
He was like, "Oh, he was a dragon or something like that."
Yes.
He started going,
Yes.
and I just remember sitting there, and at some point I just opened my mouth and I was like, I don't think that you should be telling me any of this. I was like, I kind of feel like this is really personal. And you shouldn't be telling me this information. And the guy was like,
It's that classic Spectrum thing of if something is true,
dude,
then I can say
it's like, "Oh, hey, you know that guy? Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I know every single one of his fetishes."
Brian.
It's hyper and vacuum pumping.
Yeah.
I talked about pumping.
Hyper pumping.
Dude, I've talked
Eggs?
about
Something about eggs? Was there
every
eggs
bird,
involved?
Birds, the eggs.
Birds and
I
dragons.
was just like,
Eggs,
he's
eggs,
like,
eggs.
dude, he just started being like, "Yeah, that guy's really into
Matt,
this. He's really into this. He's
Pot
really
us
into
all
this."
down a notch.
Yeah, we're getting drunk and loud now.
Oh my
Colors,
god!
White, blue, and red.
You can pot the main.
I'm
down
red.
Which one's the red? This one?
Yeah, both of those.
You are not red, you're blue.
Just a little bit.
Okay, how's that?
No, my mic is red.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like, Brian, you're looking at my memory.
I
of
don't
shit,
know.
'cause
I don't
like,
know.
It's the
knew
cable.
you
I just
way
work here.
back
It's
in
the
day.
cable. These
Yeah.
got
And we
switched
did.
somehow.
I have vague memories of a video where it was like some classical music where our middle fingers are rising into the frame
Yes.
very slowly, and then something about poop in a stairwell, and I don't remember anything
Oh
else.
shit! Yeah, that was my
Like, we're
roommate
going way-
Chris.
You're talking about your college days.
Yeah.
But the thing is, some of the funniest crap you ever filmed was, and I know you're like, I don't like some of that era, but the one with your one friend with the long hair who's like,
Chris,
I
yeah.
like to start my day with a refreshing shower.
Shower.
And it cuts to a murder shower in your basement.
In the basement. Yeah,
With
yeah, yeah.
Ah.
fully clothed
Yeah,
in a
looks-
stream of cold water. And it was the funniest
Is it
fucking
like a
thing.
Pittsburgh toilet but a shower?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one in my basement. that the
Why?
valves-
He lived out
Oh,
in
you should.
somewhere
My
in
basement
Ephrata or
has
something
one.
like
It's
that.
a concrete floor with a sump pit, and they just sort of angled it so that.
Is
the
this
shower
in the
head
coal belt?
No, this is fucking 2 miles from here.
He went to Cedar Crest High School,
It's-
so that's
it's a murder shower. I can't imagine
shit.
what else it was
But
for.
like, okay, other than like, okay,
Lancaster.
was there was it a walkout basement?
yeah.
That's why.
Someone-
There was an old
but-
person who died in that basement
Well, no,
who would be
you know what?
showered.
I think they just.
bought
I think they had a
I
Bilko
bought the
door.
house from the original owner. They had the house built for themselves, and the person was a district judge. So unless the cops brought people over in the '60s to do terrible things in the basement, there were a lot of hooks in the ceiling. I don't know what that shower was for. Maybe
It's
it was for
Giuseppe's
watching-
Butcher Emporium.
Just for watching a dog? I don't know. But it went straight into the sump pit, which pumped into the sewer, and there's so many plumbing problems with that.
Oh
I
yeah,
had to
That's not allowed.
I was
Yeah,
I
whoa.
was being asbestos bored out of my basement, but I didn't know it was asbestos.
I mean,
till
you
I was
asbestos
gone.
max like all the time with your like
Yeah.
your old timey like likes and stuff.
Yeah,
so
min-maxing my asbestos board, and then because I got to the end and then saw a label and said like Johnstown asbestos board, Ambler, PA. And I was like, oh shit! I guess I shouldn't have been breathing this in for 3 hours.
hey, we were born at the wrong time. We could all be asbestos salesmen.
Man, if we were
Yeah.
born at the wrong time,
Bring back lead paint.
everyone looks at a restored '57 Chevy and thinks it's amazing. It's like you didn't have to drive that in the winter.
Oh, they suck. Man, when I drive
you
my
didn't have to drive that in the rust.
when I had my '60 Falcon, driving it in the winter when I had to, sucked ass. It was like cold air came in.
Start like with
A lot of pumping.
yeah, just like
because-
just
We just
slam-
talked about
just
pumping.
slam the accelerator pump over and over until it started
until
to
I got
heat up.
enough fuel in there, it could suck. And now that I have the Galaxy
suck.
with the EFI in it, it literally you just crack the throttle a little bit, start it.
You don't even
Starts.
need to crack the throttle. The computer should take care of it.
Something with if I have it closed, it's reading like the throttle position sensor is reading 0%, and something's up. I think it just needs a little bit of data.
Okay, hypothetically, since you wouldn't actually do this, but hypothetically, since you got the fuel injection, what's the fastest you would have hypothetically ever driven the Galaxy?
on F list is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I've
Jesus.
had that. Well, I mean, on the
Speedometer goes
Northeast,
to 120, so that's
theoretically, you know that website where you can punch in your wheel
Connecticut Hot Dog
diameter and
500
everything like that, your rear
Oh,
end
gear
ratio.
calculator, yeah.
Yeah. Theoretically, it has a top speed of 126.
That would be insane in a convertible that size.
Yeah.
I
I don't know how
has an 85 mile an hour speedometer, and on the turnpike it's like wobbling. It says that's old speedometer wobble,
Yeah.
so it goes 70, 80, 70, 80. And you're like, I'm somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
but it feels light speed in a car that was not meant. It was from the 55 Stay Alive era.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Man, when I was driving, this is coming up, a video that we did. We just finished filming it on Wednesday, a 1972 Dodge Polara police wagon from the Illinois State Police Foundation.
You sent me a still frame of it. I love those quad headlamps when one of them is red.
Yeah.
For the police.
Yeah.
Because I had a 66 Polara and I miss it. And
So into weird emergency lighting laws. That's still a thing in California. Not a headlight specifically, but most California emergency vehicles have to have a steady red light in the front of them.
Has anyone ever seen the original Gone in 60 Seconds? The old one, the one that was guerrilla
I know the
film?
one you're talking about, but
Yeah,
I've never
because
seen it.
there's a point where some of the bad actors who are pretending to be detectives are like chasing the Mustang, and they have an unmarked police car, which the spotlight is a red lensed spotlight on the driver's side, and that's the only light on the car. And it's a solid red light. And it's like, to hear that California has a law for that.
It is.
And I'm like, it's
Still to this day, it's like
it's so-
weird laws, just like in PA,
a steady red
for
light,
instance. So like police can have red and blue, but anyone else who's emergency services can only have red and white. And like the law is still written that you can only technically have one white light facing forward that flashes. People still like listen to the white law? No, but red and white is still fire and EMS, and red and blue is still police.
I just want to know, can we get I just want to know the frequency of the strobe light that makes the light change.
For the Opticom system, no, that's big state police coming to your house stuff.
I know,
Don't get
but
an
I
Opticom.
really want to run a red light and not have it be red.
You would get a much, much, much bigger ticket
yeah.
for
It's a
doing
shame it
that.
doesn't work on infrared or something invisible.
So it does. There are IR versions, but you will still get caught because
should
that's
talk
there's
later.
no there's a reason why. So whenever we activate the Opticom system, because some of our trucks have the strobe and some of them have IR, there is a big halogen bulb that sits on the intersection that flashes at us, letting us know it's activated, but all the other directions go solid white. So if there's a cop sitting there and your 99 Civic drives through with the solid going and you're the only one driving, they're going to
You
figure
are
out
getting
pretty
the
quick.
most pulled over that anyone has ever been, ever.
Fun fact.
As well as not to be a bummer, but you're like abusing a thing that's meant for like
I
ambulances
know. I
and
wouldn't-
fire
that's the
trucks,
thing.
and also fuck you.
Well, it's like everyone dreams about it, but no one ever does it. Well, I mean, okay, who was ever in the backseat of a car as a little kid and you were like bored because it was a long time ago and there was no cell phones, and you're just imagining the invisible motorcycle guy just offroading
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
to
of
the
course,
car.
of course.
Yeah.
But look, it's what you're
It's like
describing.
It's like imagining going ham in traffic.
What
versus
look
doing
what
it.
what you're describing doing is the technological equivalent of tailgating a cop as he drives through every single, like a cop has a siren
Yeah, but
and is
everyone's
going,
done it
and
once.
you're and everyone is pulling over, and you're just riding his ass while everyone is on the shoulder tailgating him up. Like, you're going to get the biggest ticket known to man ever
So-
if you don't just go to prison.
And it's also like not a perfect technology. A lot of the times it won't work. Like around here and like in the greater Montco, Bucks, Chester area, a lot of them aren't serviced properly, so they don't really work. So you still need to like think and use your thinking brain when you're driving an emergency vehicle going through
I don't know
intersections.
how many times I've been like, if you're from the Montgomeryville area, there's an intersection called 5 Points.
Oh, yep. Yep.
Where
Absolute
it
hell.
used to be two big highways come together, and I would be there, and a fire truck would just race up behind me with the rotor rays on, and you'd be like, "I'll move over," and then there'd be somebody in an SUV just, and they weren't even
directly
jerking.
behind
You
them.
could see that they would just lock up. There was no contact. They just couldn't figure out what to do. There's an emergency vehicle behind me on the queue, screaming a siren at me.
Pin it till it burns.
And they just panic and just stay on and they just sit there and go, I'll just not move and pretend I'm invisible.
So
and hope that everything goes
well,
away.
so the funny thing is when we turn on our
You see
lights,
the firemen losing their minds.
when we turn on our lights, we actually, so some folks, including myself, we like to joke that it's the invisibility cloak. We are less visible with our lights and sirens on than we are with them off. People, the most common reaction of the Pennsylvania driver is to lock the brakes and sit directly in the lane without moving.
Panic.
They don't move, or they pull to the left.
The wrong way. That's kind of fun.
Into the turn lane that I'm actively using to not be where it needs to be.
Dude, a beacon ray. Man, this is actual... Where the hell did you get this?
That
so Brian
was-
just brought in a federal signal,
Federal sign and signal.
federal
We're
sign
going
and signal.
50s.
This is a really old one. A gumball light. A red-lensed
That was
gumball light.
given to me by the caretaker of the Dodge Polara police wagon. Said, "This is yours. I'd like, if you come to a car show, to turn your LTD into a detective's car
Man,
by having that."
the trick's gonna be like 12 volts, easy to figure out. It's like how many amps you need to run to make sure that doesn't.
Oh, I had this on top of the Honda today. It runs.
Oh, okay. It just runs up.
It's just a Starsky and
oh,
Hutch.
Oh,
it-
Tony
it
Airlines.
sliced-
People get mad at you because they have red and blues. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know who you are. If you're in the great state of New Jersey, fire departments and EMS in New Jersey can have red and blue now. That got struck down. In Pennsylvania, we still have to only have red and white.
This is like, I mean, it's such an ambulance thing. It's like watching Whistle and Diesel buy any sort of emergency vehicle and then wreck it. It's anyone who's ever used one, you go, I wish I could have done that once, but I can't because it's a professional vehicle and I don't want to lose my job. Have you ever seen the movie Hot Shots? Charlie
What?
Sheen.
Yeah.
There's a scene where the guy crashes his jet and walks out of the crater and gets hit, and then an ambulance shows up and runs into him. And there's a scene where they use an old ambulance, like probably like a 1980 Ford, chassis built ambulance, and they're driving it off road, and the thing is jumping in the air, axles hopping, because this is a stunt vehicle for this movie. But there's this brief moment where it's 3 feet off the ground, just going through whoops in a desert. And part of me just like, now that I've watched it later on, I'm like, I cannot believe the stunt driver ran this like F450 through a desert. Because this was before they probably had suspension seats.
I mean, we
Stunt driver.
still don't have
That guy's
suspension
3
seats.
inches shorter from having. Every time they hit the ground, his spine was probably compressing half a foot.
So some ambulance lore here. There is 1, 2, 3. There's 4 types that you can get in the standard market. A type 1 uses a pickup truck front.
Yep.
I hate them with a passion.
That's what this
because
one was. It was an
it- yeah.
a 1-ton pickup.
They
with a-
ride like trucks.
Yeah.
They suck.
Oh, and this
we
thing was
call
leaf
them
springs.
Oh
and-
yeah, no, we call them bouncy castles because if you're attempting to do anything in the back of that truck,
You're gonna do mock Jesus.
you're
in
just
one of
got
those?
the whole
trying to
time.
give someone an IV and keep them in bed. Yeah.
Type 2s are just the van. You cut the top off of it. You
Okay.
put the cap on it.
It's like a U-Haul, but you have now
Ambulances.
an ambulance.
No. You. So vanbulances are vanbulances. They're Type 2s. It's literally just a straight transit with a high roof that we put lights on.
Oh, okay.
Or like an E-Series that you cut the top off of it, you put a cap on it to make it taller. Because there's height requirements in the U.S. to
and those
have
probably
them.
Those drive like vans, but
They
they're
drive
not as
like
bad.
vans. But then there's Type 3s, which is the van chassis with the box on the back.
Yeah, which drives like a U-Haul.
Yeah, mostly they're a little bit better. You can get air rides. It's not worth it. They break in 5 minutes.
And those are the ones that rattle because they got those automatic chain.
Some have chains, some don't.
The ones all around here all have chain. You can hear.
I work right over there. We don't have chains.
Somebody does because you can hear them rattling from a mile away.
And then you have medium duties, which are like your Chevy Kodiaks and Chevy big boy trucks,
15,000 pound,
whatever the Chevy equivalent of the F650 is. And you have those.
I need to call this out. Analog Lightning just said, I once made out with a clown in a bouncy castle. Details. More details. Were you bouncing at the time? How many people were there? Who was on top? You can't just throw it out there, man. We need details now. Tell it to the chat. Oh, yeah. Pennsylvanians love panic braking and panicking and braking before signaling just to make a right turn going 5 miles an hour. Yeah. Or the people who will pull out in front of you when there's no one behind you and then drive slow.
I mean, I believe most Philadelphia area drivers have a magic 8-ball as their brain when they drive because they just shake it a bit, and whenever the magic 8-ball says they do.
Ask again later. Well, I guess I'll go anyways. And the thing is, anywhere you drive, you'll be somewhere and you'll be like, man, people drive like shit here. And you just realize you're just used to your kind of shit, and everyone else's shit is just the wrong kind of shit. What is that? Is that one of those ginger drinks? What is that? You ever have those ginger shots from Lidl?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Right.
I won't take your drink from you. I'm just curious about it.
I missed the. Was it France had those emergency sirens, or was it Britain? Wee haw, wee haw. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, most emergency light. Okay, yeah, so it's a bit different in Europe. Europe really likes blue, and a very specific blue, too. We actually can't easily get the color of blue that Europe has. That's a bit of World War I and II history, mainly World War II. That blue that most of your European emergency vehicles use is specifically designed to not be seen by bombers. And that just stuck around, and Wayland, which is a massive manufacturer of emergency lights in the U.S., as well as Federal Signal and other manufacturers, keeps those LED colors and design those LED colors to be that same form of near cobalt blue for the European audience and market. In fact, most of your sirens and everything else is only available in the European market. We can't get it here.
Here's a weird color question. I've been seeing on a Northeast extension for a little bit. Someone running yellow and green.
Okay, so that just happened the start of this year in 2025.
The State Farm Safety Patrol.
So everyone in Pennsylvania is now allowed to have amber and greens as long as you're providing traffic services, snow removal services, or any general kind of side of the highway stuff.
Oh, okay.
That just happened for this year.
And I can say with authority that if you're an emergency or any sort of service like that, the second you're told, hey, you can use a different color, you're going to run out and customize the shit out of your tow truck or whatever the hell it is.
That's what I did. I saw some truck riding in the fast lane, being a left lane bandit on the turnpike. But it was not only that, it was in the construction zone. They have orange and green going. They've been on it almost all the way through Quakertown. They're not speeding up, they're not slowing down, and no one's sure what this is, and no one's passing them. And I wasn't sure what it was either, so I'm creeping by at one over because they're driving the speed limit.
Yeah, so anyone who's so it has to be, according to what I read, but I'm sure it will get stretched and anyone will buy them now. But it's supposed to be municipal, state, and county vehicles that do snow removal, traffic services, or maintenance can have both amber and green now, along with white. But not too much white, as we just discussed earlier.
But we can say that someone running yellow and green is not traffic enforcement.
No, not at all.
The only people who have any authority to pull you over are red, white, and blue. Red, white,
Does
and
that
blue
include
flashing lights.
constables?
So constables do not have pullover power, not in
Roger
PA.
that.
So constables are a weird thing that they do have powers of arrest throughout the state, but only in breaches of the peace, which do include alcohol and drug crimes, but only if they witness it directly, and it does not include traffic law.
Yep.
Unless, fun fact, you're in the Poconos and in a gated community. If you're on the private property of a gated community, the public safety of a gated community can run radar, unlike your local cops, and they can pull you over. They can't give you a ticket that will go towards your record, but they can put a lien against your house.
Weird.
This was a job I had at one point, so...
Weird. There was this place called Lake Winona, which was a gated community in Schuylkill County. And it was the place where everybody smoked weed because the police, the locals, and PSP did not patrol there.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own security, which was a bunch of RAV4s with amber lights on the roof. But there also was no way to enforce people running their Suzuki 450 quads on the road. So if security chased you, you just hop on your quad and run away.
So, the place that I worked was called a Pocono Country Place. And you would go up there, you would be armed and had the same equipment as the police department.
Oh, these guys weren't armed.
So you would literally go to traffic school and learn how to pull people over, and you'd learn radar and everything else like that. I was an EMT still at the time, shocker. And so I'd also do QRS service, quick response service. So when the ambulance would be called, they'd also send us so that we could provide medical care before the ambulance got there. Okay. And part of my job was pulling people over in this private community. It's one of the largest gated communities in the Poconos, in fact, in the state. And yeah, you would literally run traffic stops with radar, which, fun fact, only the state police can use in regards to local police departments.
Yep. So
Outside-
SPASCAR for everybody else.
Yep.
Yep.
Unless you're a gated community.
Yeah.
So in the Poconos, these gated communities have these in pretty much private police departments where they can't send you to court to get the money from you for your traffic tickets, but they can put a lien on your house.
It's so weird, like the ultimate HOA.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sounds like the nightmare of an HOA in general.
Yeah.
So if you're going 50 down the road and I pulled you over, I could write you a $200 lien against your house.
That's
But
fucked up.
the funny thing about it is if you don't pay that within 90 days, you needed a key card to get into the gated community. Your access to your house would be revoked.
See, that seems like a quote unquote, I'm making air quotes, a friendlier way to deal with someone who's like, if you're going 15 to 25 and it's in a neighborhood, okay. Don't lean someone's fucking house. Just make it so they can't get to their parking spot.
Well, so they can't even get into the community. But
Yeah,
that
they'll
is
pay that. You don't have
it's
to take
still
their house away.
It's still considered a lien. Once you pay it, the lien is gone.
Yeah.
But if you were to go to sell your house and have all these citations against you, they take that money from you when you sell your house.
What's the fine for setting off fireworks?
I mean, we
Because
didn't.
that's been my number one thing. They opened a Phantom Fireworks in Montgomeryville, and if they didn't want me to set off fireworks, why would they sell fireworks?
Yeah. Someone in the chat asked, can you explain, and I have a story that goes with this, can you explain the powers of a Pennsylvania state game warden? They sound like super cops.
Unlimited.
They can do anything they want in the state.
Oh,
including
hello.
private property.
Whoop, somebody else put in here something I wanted to actually do a podcast with you about.
Okay.
SWG Ghost. Yes, you're talking about the Freedom House ambulance. I really want to do a podcast with Brian over here on the history of EMS. I love Freedom House Ambulance. That's Dr. Peter Safar and Dr. Nancy Caroline. We still use their books today. Peter Safar invented CPR as we know it today, and Nancy Caroline, we still have her name on our paramedic books. So whoever SWG Ghost is, keep an eye out for that. I'm going to start writing some stuff up and collab with Brian on that.
That sounds like a great thing.
Oh man, you can learn between the dick jokes.
What were you talking about? Sorry. I just caught that.
When I was filming one day, I did have a run-in with a game warden. It must have been a slow day. He was sniffing around. He was asking, what is this for? Is this a commercial enterprise? We were at some tiny little park in Berks County. And we were filming... Actually, I'm not going to tell you the name of the cars because then you're going to go look for it. We were filming 2 cars that day. And he just came over. he had that hand on the hip stance where the one is just hovering right over his sidearm. And it's like, and it is that cocksure, I can fuck you up smile. That evil, the power of the state is behind him. And if he could bite off my own dick, he would. There is a particular smile that some cops have that it's sadistic. It fills me with a sense of injustice, and this guy had it. And all I'm doing is taking pictures of a car, and he's talking to me like I'm a drug dealer.
It's crazy how they are.
Yeah,
I'm sad that was your interaction because
And it gets better because
90% of the time I meet chill guys, and
Yeah.
you 10% of the time
Are you
meet-
sure they're game wardens and not boat
Oh
commission?
no, it wasn't even
Don't
game
worry,
warden.
Brian. I was listening to
It
your
wasn't.
story.
It wasn't in game wardens. It was like, even state police or whatever. You know, like getting really chill people, but then because people get on dash cams all the
He
time.
was either
assholes.
that or he was DCNR. I
Please
can't
tell the
remember.
rest of your story, Brian. Go on.
The two other, like we had 3 volunteers that day. 2 of them were PA state cops, and I'm looking at them like, aren't you going to help me? And he said, nah, you're fine. But they like, can you not? Because this guy had like high school bully energy. This lawn care cop, whoever he was. Now I know that they are state cops. They do have power of arrest and blah blah blah. State gave warning, whatever. And then afterwards, they laughed, said, no, if anything would have happened, we would have flashed our badges. But no, we just wanted to see you sweat a little bit.
Oh, so Lance, that's Bucks County Park Rangers. They don't care. That's have you had any issues at Lake Knockmixon?
One issue at Lake Knockmixon, but it wasn't the
park police.
It wasn't a park police. It was just somebody's grandpa whose other people's business is your business. You know.
Oh yeah, no. So like Bucks County Park Police are like super chill. Usually, if you're filming in Bucks County, they don't care.
Yeah.
Just to answer your question,
Well,
Lance.
you don't
It always
you
helps,
don't
like-
crash a drone into their picnic. They're fine.
We can do, like, when I'm filming a classic car, I get away with anything because people know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, classic car, camera, this makes sense to me. But when I'm filming a Nissan Sentra from '99, no one understands. Like, why are you taking a picture of this?
If it was from
Disposable
'89,
car.
I'd get it.
Yeah, yeah. So, good question. So, as far as I know, PA State Game Wardens and DCNR have the authority of PSP, Pennsylvania State Police.
Yeah, they can enter private property to check on wildlife. That is correct.
Yeah.
It's been heavily contested, but yes, they can. So can the Boat Commission. So there. So fishing is not under the DCNR. It's actually under by the Boat Commission, which is a separate thing. There's one officer that goes through each section of a county. Those guys are super chill. They go through a year of training. Half of that's the police academy. The other half is learning how to fish and teach other people how to fish. Boat Commission guys are awesome. If you ever come to PA and run into one, hang out with one for a little bit. They're absolutely wonderful. They do not want to get you in trouble. We've had run-ins with them where I've had friends who were not licensed to fishing with me, whose response was, hey, do you got $30 in cash? They were like, yeah, I guess I do. Gave them the $30. They went to their truck, onto their computer inside of their response vehicle, got them a fishing license, brought it back and said, I'm not finding you. Here's your fishing license. Have a good day. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn how to fish, here's my card. Call me.
Cool.
Those guys are awesome. They are really into education and teaching sustainability and how to fish versus punishing people for being interested.
Yeah, I mean, half the time, the only time they get a little agitated is if you're on a boat and you're near a dam entrance, and they're like, "Please don't get near the buoys."
Well, yeah,
Like,
it's because they don't want you to die.
yeah, please get away from the buoys. You're too close.
The one thing I will say is they will go after you with the full force of the law if you're poaching. By poaching, I mean you're like at a trout stock and you're pulling 30, 40 fish at a time to go sell at like some market or something.
Yeah.
Like they will get you with that. But if you're just trying to like learn how to fish and you forgot to get your license, they're not going to throw you over the river.
Yeah.
I'm going to go refill my drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. How you doing, Drain?
I'm
Look like
doing
you're spaced
super.
out. Okay.
I don't know much information about the subject at hand, so I'm just
Okay.
kind of taking it in.
Cool. Our timestamp is 1 hour and 20 minutes.
I'm chilling.
That's the
Yeah.
thing about podcasts. You just go to you get bored.
40 more
yeah.
minutes. Let's go. I'm
right.
good with whatever.
I feel like in the future, like
I've only gone through like 20% of my total market.
it's not even it's barely below
Oh my
the label.
god.
Like your podcast, if anything, it's like who's going to be over? Like write down 3 questions. And be like,
Yeah.
that'd be the kickoff question, and they might go completely off the rails, but who cares?
Here's a convention question. How, I want to word it correctly. What techniques and skills have you learned after doing Fadelia? It's been over 5 years.
This is our 8th year.
8th year, excuse me. After doing Fadelia for 8 years. What sort of skills have you developed and want to pass on to staff members of other conventions when dealing with mental health issues at conventions? It's a question I posed to our friend Justin Silverman, who helps run Screenwave, but I want to know. I've heard his answer, but the world of gamers and the world of furries, while they're under the same, while they tend to cross paths, they may be very different in the type of attendees when it comes to someone having a mental health possible crisis or a moment of confusion or dealing with spectrum challenges.
I'll actually push this question to Frey as well, because Frey's our director of public safety. Public safety includes medical. Frey's a lot of experience in dealing with all kinds of people of this variety, but not only at conventions, but out in the world as well. If someone's having a psych episode out in the world and somebody calls 911 about it, he's showing up to deal with it.
Are you speaking mainly upon like our response to like what happens at the conventions with like our attendees or with staff?
Yeah, I've noticed
does
it, but
staff
only
deal
as an attendee, and I've usually just seen it from like 30 feet, and like I'm not getting near with this. When someone is having a meltdown, let's sort of say, it was something I had to deal with as a teacher, but the environment of a high school was very contained and compartmentalized.
I mean, if you think about it, our convention is also very contained. There is a multifaceted response that we have to what we call psych calls.
Okay.
So the kind of core difference between a lot of other conventions versus how they run their like security and event safety versus us, we are very much so structured off of an EMS structure, which is harm reduction, education, and making sure that people are able to continue their having a good time. Because EMS is all about connecting them to like EMS in the real world. Saving lives. Yeah, that's not exactly true. We do technically save lives in some regards, in regards to like cardiac arrest and MIs and things like that. But a lot of the times we are just the chain in a connection to greater healthcare. And breaking that mindset of we're just saving lives in EMS itself is very healthy for a lot of our providers because it allows them to think greater. Why is this happening to them? How can we help them in a greater aspect? Because EMS is very much so, if you just break it down, come into your house, pick you up, put you in the truck, treat you to make you stable and bring you to the hospital.
You call, we haul.
Yeah, but in modern times, we don't like to think of it that way. We like to think of ourselves as clinicians, where we think about what's actually happening with this person. So like, okay, Grandma's sitting on this couch right here and having chest pain. Why is she having chest pain? Is it because she hurt herself from a fall earlier today? Or is it because her myocardium, which is the cells in her heart, are actually being damaged due to a blockage and there's no oxygen going towards it? So we have moved into a clinician aspect versus a trade aspect and a transport aspect. It's kind of the same thing at our convention. We have a gentleman, his name, talking animal name is Rico. He works for the ARV service in Philadelphia, which is the mental health crisis response vehicle for the city of Philadelphia. I have worked on a mental health crisis ambulance before. And also, we get called for mental health crises in the real world all the time. And they happen at conventions. Our response is very much the EMS response. We go determine what kind of mental health crisis we're dealing with. There are many. It could be depression. It could be someone who has a dual diagnosis and has intaked both a substance and also has a mental health issue. It could be someone who has just a singular issue, but they are unmedicated or do not know about it or have not taken their meds to, in quotations, fuel themselves during the duration of the event. That does happen sometimes. And we have to figure out the approach of what we're going to take to each issue as we go. We'll get some folks who are, and content warning here, we're about to get into some dark stuff. We respond to people who state that they're feeling suicidal. We respond to state to people that they don't want to wake up the next day and things like that. And the approach to that is different.
We intercepted someone last year, I think, trying to break out onto the roof.
Yeah, right? So we get that kind of stuff all the time because we are dealing with a population of people who view our event as an escape from life. But sometimes life catches up to them when they get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that escape breaks and they come crashing down and they realize that. And so our approach is kind of multifaceted. So we'll send a medical unit up to determine a baseline status of where they are. And then we will send our mental health professionals up. We also partner with Dance Safe now, which is a volunteer organization that provides preventative care, not care, but preventative maintenance, I'll call it, for raves and things like that. They'll test your party drugs without calling the cops, and they provide counseling services about consent and everything like that. So we'll kind of partner with them nowadays, and we'll kind of determine a treatment modality towards what we're trying to do, because I think the last thing that these people that are going through this incident at our event want to see is an ambulance showing up or a cop car, unless we can't help it.
Right, yeah.
You have a comment in the chat.
Do I?
Oh yeah.
Is it the very legal, very
Yeah,
cool?
very legal, very cool. $10 super chat.
What do we got, Matt?
He says, you're talking of ambulances, reminds me of Wildland fire engine types. Type 6 is a crew cab F450 with 250-gallon tank, and the Type 3 and 4s are on a bouncy Freightliner with a 750-gallon tank.
So I am not going to talk anything about fire trucks. I have no idea about
My
fire
favorite
trucks.
ambulances are Children's Hospital of Philadelphia have crew cab.
Medium duties.
So there's 4 EMTs in the front, and when they get to the patient, 2 go to the back to it's usually it's usually a driver. The driver is usually like a 4'8" girl who drives this truck that weighs 1 billion pounds. And then it's usually
the driver or the truck?
The driver.
Oh, okay.
No, the truck. The truck's 1 billion pounds.
Okay.
The girl weighs 20 pounds. There's usually a medic, EMT, and then there's
a critical care nurse,
sometimes a nurse or even a physician on board as well.
Correct.
But they just have this. It's a hilarious looking vehicle because it's this massive
truck with teddy bears on it.
It's this massive crew cab ambulance.
There's because not far from here in Chalfont, Children's Hospital has an annex facility, and they have a couple of trucks that wander
We see
around.
them because there's the new full service hospital.
I mean,
in
the
King of
craziest
Prussia.
truck that exists in our area right now is in Bucks County. Not to deviate away from the mental health scene, we'll get right back to that. But Bucks County has a mobile stroke truck. That thing is insane. It is a medium duty, a lot like the pediatric transport trucks that we're speaking of. But this thing has an entire MRI inside of it.
How do you?
So it
The
shows
power
up.
plant on that.
It
must be
shows
nuts.
up to the house. It has RV style levelers on it because it has to be level for it to work. The patient goes onto a special stretcher, gets put into it, and an MRI technician, a nurse, a medic, and an EMT staff this truck. They put the patient in, a big screen comes down, the neurologist gets on with the nurse and the MRI technician and the medic, And he goes, okay, turn on the MRI. The MRI scans the patient in front of their house. And if it's an occlusive, which means a blockage versus a bleed, they can administer TXA, which can blow the clot.
I'm just surprised because I had an MRI once, and it was in a room with a lot of room around it because MRIs have enormous magnets.
They're huge.
Or TCP.
Even
TCP,
a medium-sized truck, how the hell they get that in there and not have?
So
it's a massive
There's a lot
truck.
of metal around.
You can make MRIs small.
Oh, okay.
They just end up costing a lot more money.
Or they use aluminum or something non-magnetic around it or
The
something.
junkiest headphones they gave me when I needed an MRI for my wrist.
Yep.
I eventually just said,
Where they play Vivaldi Spring.
I asked. You know what they asked
They
me?
gave you earplugs?
I should have asked for the earplugs or the earmuffs.
I got the mirror goggles that make you look backwards out the room so you don't realize there's a plastic thing 3 inches
I
from
had
your
no
head.
problem being in a confined space. It was just
We're getting tons of woes and like greats and questions about like emergency vehicles and stuff.
Actually,
we're definitely gonna do I'm definitely gonna do a collab podcast with Bri here about like emergency vehicles. Everyone's calling him Bri in the chat.
It's Bri.
I don't know why. That's what they're calling it.
Everybody needs a nickname. I guess.
That's
for
Brian, you were working on your pilot's license.
We're gonna
I have
do
a whole 6 hours.
I know because that thing is we went transfer from ambulances to fire trucks. And now I'm thinking of water bombers in California.
So we're definitely gonna do
planes with fire trucks.
We're gonna definitely do a history of EMS and how it correlates to car culture because I know a lot of you guys are huge into the cars and everything else. So I was actually messaging him in one of the party chats.
Did you get to ride in Tony's fire truck yet?
I have, yeah.
Oh, did you ride in the jump seats in the back? Oh, it's so fun. I love it how everything. People have heard me say this before, but everything a normal fire truck has, that has just tiny.
Yeah, it is. It does. Yeah. So we're definitely gonna try to
less,
program that out because it's a lot of research I have to get, so I don't say the wrong things because I'm very passionate about it and don't want to give false info.
I saw someone, I think in Europe, doing something very, very cool with a medium-duty ambulance. Which is, so they have the robot surgery machines where it's this spider attached to the ceiling of the operating room that is manned by a technician. They've got these trucks, they've got ambulances now, or at least they're working on rolling them out, that have like newsroom style like internet connection to them, where there's a surgery robot on the roof, on the ceiling of the truck. And they can like put a patient in the stretcher, cut the clothes, like expose the wound, clean the area, and then just like shove the stretcher into the back of the truck and shut the doors. And a surgeon can like use the robot to do trauma surgery. Like if you have a gunshot, they can pull the bullet, suture robot like from just a dude in front of a computer at the hospital. They can just roll the truck out to wherever you are and just do trauma surgery, like right in your front.
There's just foggers that just ketamine just goes in.
So
they have to.
Not for nothing, but shout out to Europe, especially France in this instance. You guys like France and like the Netherlands and Sweden and Denmark and all that area. You guys have advanced. So like it's like Dr. Peter Saffer, as I explained before with Freedom House Ambulance in Pittsburgh.
Oh, you doxed yourself.
Not really, but Freedom House Ambulance in Pittsburgh, kind of modern inventory CPR. But you guys over in Europe really kind of took it to the next level with the Lucas device, which is an automatic CPR device, as well as performing open heart surgery at a French underground metro station and doing ECMO. Like, that's insane. I wish we could do that here. Like, one of the big reasons, like, so a lot of people do EMS because lights and sirens and fancy and pretty and haha, I get to make people pull over. I'm super into the clinical aspect of things and the history. So, like, when reading the articles of France doing ECMO in a subway station is awesome. There's probably some European viewers in here, but good job, guys. Like, I wish we could do that here. My clinical heart bleeds to have that.
Speaking of history, just because and again, it's very theatrical, but we're going back to like 60s, 70s television.
Yeah, emergency. Yeah, so
emergency, and also
that's
called
going to
emergency,
be
yeah.
that is going to be in the collab podcast I
because
want to do with
them
him
talking-
because the only reason that we have paramedics in all 50 states as quickly as we did is because that exists.
That show was popular, but also some technology they showed on there, like that radio operated.
What is ECMO? ECMO is literally a device that oxygenates and pumps the blood through someone's heart without the heart functioning. So you could literally have your heart ripped out of your chest and have tubes put into you, and ECMO would both take the job of the heart and the lungs at the same time.
That's what keeps you alive while they're working on your heart.
Well, for the moment, it's meant to be a intermittent solution for people who are awaiting heart transplants. So if you're on the transplant, let's say you're on the transplant list, but you're not going to get a heart for 18 months, but your heart is going to go out in 8 months, they can put you on what's basically a backpack.
So
that
that's
circulates.
So there's
your blood.
LVAD. So LVAD is if your heart's about to like pretty much dead, but like still has a little bit left, and then ECMO is like full on. You're in a bed.
Well, I like the backpacks. I want to see if Brian wanted to ask us any more questions before we stay on this subject for too long. He's
I'm trying to head out of
alcohol-unating
it. I'm trying to head out of
himself.
it because I want to make this an entire podcast where we talk about it.
Brian!
But the problem is people
Anyway.
keep asking questions about it, so I'm going to keep
Brian's
answering.
totally going to review trains from now on. He's not here to make a face.
I want to talk about something that's not cars. I don't know a single thing about cars.
You drove here.
I have been told that I have the worst car opinions of any human alive, and I believe them.
If your car doesn't have huge dents and like one headlight's burn out, you're already doing better than most people.
Debatable. It depends on who you ask. I know many people who would rather drive a car with burnt headlights than the car.
Do you
that I
have
drive.
insurance?
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yes.
Okay, well,
You're
we
legal.
do live near Philly, so
Yeah.
that's not a high standard.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if someone bangs into you, you're like, oh, at least I'm covered. No.
Yeah. I just need $5,000 of body work
Oh my god.
to replace. Oh, they destroyed the radar sensor in your car.
Just hope they don't pierce that.
All right,
lid-
here's a fun
hope
thing.
they don't pierce that battery.
Let's get some other. We're gonna go away from EMS because we're gonna make a whole like podcast on that. Don't
anyway.
worry.
Ambulances.
No, not ambulances. Anyone in the chat play weird instruments? Let's do that
my
because.
gosh.
Oh man.
Oh no! See, you
Oh my god.
What's that thing they use in horror movies with like?
the water phone.
I want a topic
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I know
yeah.
how to speak about.
You do know how to speak on.
I don't
this.
know shit about weird instruments either. Brian, you're back just in the nick of time. Did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask us?
Oh well, we didn't end. Okay, so yeah.
I'm sure I'll think of something.
So
But if not, we'll probably wrap
to
this
end
up.
cap.
I mean, we can just keep talking. I
Yeah,
just
it's-
wanted to make sure that you didn't have anything in the barrel.
Theremin is the
Theremin,
horror
thank
instrument.
you.
So theremin, but also the water phone.
Yeah, theremin. That's that one. It's like a metal. It's an electronic loop that you get your
That
hand
yeah,
near.
yeah, that's the alien instrument, and the water phone is the Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, and you play it with a bow or something.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, Joe Bob Briggs will be on next week.
Try playing oboe in 7th grade. I went back to percussion after that. I mean,
Love
you know,
drums.
percussion rise up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I got my drums downstairs.
Did you play the?
I can't do bass drum anymore with the bird head on. It's just so stressful
Because you can't see it.
I mean,
because
you
I can't see down here, and now I'm limited. Like I can ski in the suit, which is what I'll be doing tomorrow at Blue Mountain. Because I skied in suit once before, and I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. But actually, it's going to be challenging because it's going to be night.
They got lights.
But wearing a bass drum with the fursuit, that is rough, because I can't move my head left and right because the beak's too long and it hits the shell of the drum. So I'm just going to do snare if I'm in suit.
There's gonna be someone with a pelican suit. That's gonna be playing a bass drum and calling
Yeah.
you a pussy.
Yeah. No, I'd have to I have to put it on one shoulder, and then that's not good for your back for too long. But yeah, March bass drum in high school too. Yeah, love bass drum. I'm probably going to take the dampeners out of it so it rings more.
Did you have anybody in your marching band playing the sousaphone? The fiberglass sousaphones.
We didn't have fiberglass; they were all brass.
It's like a marching tuba, except somehow
no,
larger.
I know what a sousaphone is.
I'm talking. This is for anybody who doesn't know what a sousaphone
Okay.
is. Yeah, it's like you just look up a picture of one. It's like, oh, the tuba's big. Then you see a sousaphone. You're like, what the fuck?
When
is
people
that?
think tuba, they really think sousaphone.
Yeah,
A
Is
tuba.
that,
I
what was
know
the
this
black
from Kids
cat?
Next Door.
Funk Master or whatever.
Oh,
the picture of the black cat.
There's a black cat sticking his nose in the mouthpiece, and it looks
Funk
like
machine.
And it says, and it says
Funk
funk
machine.
machine on the bell of the sousaphone.
Start
And it's one of the
start
best.
typing out in the chat if anyone's a fellow Kids Next Door fan. We had a whole K&D
Is that
episode.
brain candy?
We had a whole K&D episode about the difference between tuba and sousaphone.
I played trumpet.
I was snare, but I wasn't in a marching band.
I was in North Idaho. Our band was the band. There was no marching band and school band. It was the band.
So I had a kilt, so it was
Hell yeah.
it was a time,
Yeah.
especially during high school. Being the kid who had the kilt in high school kind of made me a little bit more confident about coming out of the closet. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I just remember racing to band practices in my friend's Chevy Spectrum.
Awesome.
The
The thing I miss about those like early '80s cars is that,
they're all Japan. They're all Japanese. The little ones.
but you could just thrash the ever-loving shit out of those engines, and unlike it's like even if you do float a valve, you don't care.
It's not. They were non-interference. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Car
I
stuff.
dabble in the kazoo. Awesome.
Move up to the didgeridoo.
Okay, kazoos are always like a dollar store item.
Yeah.
Is there a good sounding kazoo?
I don't
The didgeridoo.
Yeah.
No, that's actually
It
pretty
plays
good.
the same way, but with a lot more skill.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're evolving into propane and propane
King of
accessories.
Well,
Hey,
Peggy,
man, put it on
you
home,
know
man.
how I like delayed gratification.
My last
Well,
name is
Peggy,
Bill.
you know how I like to get Peggy.
Something about a narrow urethra.
Whoa! No, he had
That was a damn good show.
he had to wear an ass extension because his ass wasn't big
He
enough.
was like a
Hell, that's
prosthetic.
prescription.
he was like a frog wearing pants.
Yeah. It's like an ass prescription.
Yeah.
Sit there, ass replacer.
I know people like
The
that show
ass
back in the day.
replacer.
Let's
Yes.
remake it.
Ba-na-na.
Yeah, that was.
Hell orbs.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You like Hell Orbs?
Yeah.
We love Hell Orbs.
He's my brother.
I'm aware.
Yeah, we know.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna.
I
drop
met
something on
him. You introduced me to this guy, and you were like, "Oh, my brother's a DJ," and I'm like, "Oh, that's
The problem
cool."
is your
and then
ass.
Afterwards, you're like, "Yeah, he's Hell Orbs," and I was like, "What? You didn't tell me he was Hell Orbs?
Yeah.
I would have been fanboying a lot more if I knew he was fucking Hell Orbs."
You need to
Anyone who
expose
doesn't
me to
know,
this.
go on YouTube and type in Hell Orbs
Orbs
Ass
Ass
Replacer.
Yeah.
Great song.
Hey,
Also,
I just had
Nipple Cops is a great song.
How's your
as
brother
well.
like to be
And
QH for FT?
Skeleton. No, we don't talk about that in public.
See, I don't
And
want
Skeleton Zone is a great
see,
one.
I don't
Yeah.
want I don't want to embarrass your brother, but it's like I still have an MP3 somewhere on my hard drive buried deep when he was doing like video game remixes.
Yeah. Well, he has
And
a
I'm
bunch
like,
of
and
his.
it's like this is like it's legit good.
He is good. I mean, he has
It's like a Jurassic Park remix. I'm
on,
like, holy
on one
shit.
of those like rhythm game machines. I mean, there's his songs are on in the arcade down there over there at Retroware.
Really?
Yeah, like some of those
That's
arcade
sweet.
machines, he got music on, and he's sold like he has like I don't know how many albums
See,
out now.
I fell out because I didn't realize what I was sort of been looking for. Now I know what to look for.
Yeah,
So SWG Ghost is asking Kids Next Door, what's that? Okay.
all right.
All right, well,
I mean,
were
you can
you
just
born?
you can just Google it, but it's still
You're either very young or very old.
Oh no! How we like to determine this at the party house is: are you an never forget or an always remember? If you're born after 2001, you're an always remember. Before that, you're a never forget.
Yeah,
born in '79.
Oh no!
81.
Like, are you an '80s kid? Technically, but really, the
I
90s
remember
is
when
when I
Kurt
remember.
Cobain was alive.
He
Kurt
lied
Cobain,
about not having a gun.
Hey, I was in Seattle. He was in Seattle. I was in like North Idaho. Nirvana was the shit.
Yeah,
And then like the whole high school was just
Are
like,
you a
oh.
potato person? You
No,
came
that was
from
Sa-
the
that was
Idaho.
South Idaho. I was Panhandle. We were more of California's playground. Oh, this is beautiful up here. We should
Boise.
take all our money and come on up to Sandpoint and just live next to Hayden Lake, where all the Nazis are. And then we ran them out because we didn't like them.
I'm 31. Yeah, we're 30.
You're at
Your point.
Yeah, I'm
hour
not,
43.
I'm getting self-conscious of my age now.
Ah.
That's why he wears
Because
a
I'm
hat.
still single and I want to find somebody, but I also remember Ronald Reagan.
Hot birds in your area.
Yeah.
At least
Click
the
here.
thing is, looking for that one special gay person also means like the biological clock of I need to have children isn't there.
That
You just
is
need to
true.
find that person that wants to
Yeah.
sit on a floral couch.
Yeah.
And has
If
a
you can
huge
ever,
penis.
if you can ever find that Duel of the Fates remix, please send it
can't
to
zip
one of
up.
us so that we can use it for a set of our con. Thank you. Although it's trans, so I can give it to one of our friends.
Is that a gin and ginger or is that?
It's a gin and ginger.
Okay, you're diluted that a little. It's a lot in there. Okay, just checking. That's a big.
I don't.
If that was
we're at
if
the
that was-
point of no longer measuring.
If that was cognac, I'd be like, you're not. You're sleeping home. Hey, remember to eat your vitamins there. Those olives are not just for looks. You're supposed to eat
Oh,
those.
they're the prize for me finishing my martini.
that's the same I
Is it
feel.
okay?
Yeah.
Finish the
Now,
martini,
are
get the
those-
olive.
Yeah.
Do those have pimentos in them, or do you use the garlic ones?
Oh,
I didn't
pim-
get the garlic ones.
Yeah,
I got
no,
the pimento.
that's too much action.
Tragic.
That's
garlic,
another. Yeah,
a
no.
garlic gin martini actually works pretty well.
Blue cheese olives all the way.
They're only nice
I'd
for
have to try it.
snacks for me. It has to be the pimento if I want to. Yeah, okay.
I don't know what is. I
Oh
never
yeah,
liked-
letting
I
out
never
early
liked that
9/11.
style
So where
glass.
I
It's like
grew
a
up, we could see
Spill-O-Matic.
it from our elementary
Who's the
school.
guy on YouTube does all the
I could
the
look out the
drink
window
channels
and
with
see the
flannel
smoke.
shirt?
How to drink?
How to drink?
We've been trying to like. He lives in Brooklyn, and I wanted to collab with him. For
wait,
a
I
while.
When
thought
did he
lived in
move to
Wait,
Brooklyn?
no. I thought he lived in Chicago.
What? How to
No,
drink?
He lives
was-
in Jersey.
No, he's Highland Parks, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
No, the guy with the flannel shirt.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does all the he just produced all that stuff out of his garage. I thought he was in Chicago.
No.
No.
Oh, maybe he just got a bottle of Malort imported then. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you can.
Like everyone else
Yeah.
does.
Like, well, I just bought it while I was out there, but God, it's,
No,
it's
he's
not as bad
he's a
as-
Jersey boy.
Okay.
Oh, he's not that far.
No,
Really?
he's near Sandy
Oh,
Hook.
if you showed him
Like
your
right outside of
bar,
Sandy
he'd be
Hook.
here.
You know what? I wonder if I still have his email. Or all
He
I
has a
have.
YouTube channel.
we tried.
All I have to do is, I'll make a video and say, hey, we still wanted to collab. I bought a house. This is my untouched 1970s
You know who
bar.
you should collab with all your old tech in here?
Yeah. who?
Technology Connections.
That guy.
We
Oh, that's the
talked-
guy in Chicago.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Illinois. Yeah.
You could talk about your electric car charger.
We did. Yeah. Yeah, he has an Ioniq 5. We talked briefly on like Twitter DMs because I needed permission to recreate his background. And he in fact just sent me raw footage of his background. The actual thing.
Yeah, I
that we had
remember that,
green
Oh,
yeah.
screen.
the IKEA shelves with all the stuff in them.
Yeah. Yeah. He sounds like a cool guy.
He's very responsive on Twitter. I've had several like back and forth messages.
It's
with
him
on
taking
Twitter.
things apart. That's cool. But the things he does to his house is what I want to do if I had some extra time and money. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I built a special timer switch with indicator lights for my hot water heater that turns it on and off. And I'm like, I want to do that sort of.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have remote.
I figured you were
power
from
things.
Sweden, yes, due to the Kroner. Yeah, Jeppson's Malort was made by a Swede in Chicago, so there you go.
Look up Pennsylvania Boilo for the Christmas drink. I think it's Lithuanian though.
I think you can definitely say it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
'cause-
what's that other nasty? Malort has an interesting taste. Jägermeister broke into the mainstream. That's weird, but not that weird. It was from Norway. Oh, it's a clear liquor, and it also has a intense taste. Now I can't remember.
So
the name of it.
the funny thing about Malort, because we have someone from Sweden talking about it, is they have never really had money for an advertisement campaign. It is hyper regional. The only reason it exists outside of Chicago is due to people finding it.
and going on the internet.
Yeah.
Malort face.
So my first ever time going to MFF, which is Midwest Furry Fest, which is in Chicago, in Rosemont, Illinois. I drove from New Jersey, which is a 12-hour drive. God help me.
You did it in 12?
Yeah, it's 12 hours.
Dang.
And I did it 3 years in a row.
Oh, I'm used
but
to
my
driving to Milwaukee.
first,
It takes longer.
my
Yeah, okay.
first time driving in, I saw 2 billboards. The first billboard was, "Congratulations, you're having twins." And it was 2 champagne glasses clinking together.
Okay.
And it was, come to so-and-so hospital for all your OBGYN needs. Someone who loved Malort bought the next billboard about 2 minutes down the road. And it said, ... and they're conjoined at the head. And it had both champagne glasses broken on the floor and 2 shot glasses full of Malort with the bottle sitting next to it, and goes, ... drink Jepson's Malort.
I love a company with a sense of humor.
No, it's not the company. They have
just some
never,
guy.
ever had advertisement. It's their fans buying the money
the fact
to do
that the
it.
company didn't go and say, well, litigiously, we can't, blah, blah, blah. They just let it happen. That means they have a sense of humor.
Because it's Chicago.
Yeah.
And so Chicago is the most northeast city in the Midwest.
It's an old style and Malort.
They'll never admit it, but
and Bill
Chicago
Murray
is the
will just-
northeast Midwest.
Bill Murray will just appear. It'll just phase out of a wall and go, old style?
Yeah, Aquavit is pretty much
Aquavit,
Malort.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Aquavit. That was the. I had a person from Norway stop over and leave me with 10 airline bottles of various brands of Aquavit, and each one is an adventure.
So there is an Aquavit made in New York. Philly, not Philly, the Pennsylvania. So, preface: Pennsylvania still controls liquor like it's the prohibition.
Yep.
Why would you give up that tax rate?
So yeah, taxes indeed. So we have state stores. The only thing you can get that's close to Malort in PA without ordering it directly from Jepson's is Aquavit, and it's made in New York.
I'm just mad. There's a whiskey called Rock and Rye. It's a very sweetened. And
I just saw it in the liquor store. You can still buy it.
You can. Well, there's Jacqueline's Rock and Rye, which has like a piece of orange peel floating in it. It doesn't taste very good. There was damn it, now I'm blanking on the name. It was a brand that they had in the liquor store in Pennsylvania, and then they stopped carrying it. I think it was called Slow and Low. It was like Hossfetters, something like that. I'm butchering the name.
Yeah.
But it was like a Slow and Low Rock and Rye, and it was amazing. It was sweet enough. You could drink too much of it, get a headache. It was really good. And the thing is, you just go into New Jersey, and every private liquor store has it.
Dill, cumin, and fennel. Actually, that actually sounds pretty good. So if you figure out a way to send us some that is made with that, we could drink it on this.
Yes.
Someone's talking about Czechoslovakia.
No. Czech stuff is also awesome,
Yeah,
but we'd have to send. Hey, Tony, if you're still on here, get us some of that.
Yeah, it actually. Well, I know Tony Airlines flies. Does he fly internationally?
Yeah, he
but-
does. I don't know how much he's allowed to bring back and how much he can get away with.
It's
as a
whatever
crew
you can
member.
put in the cockpit. I'm sure.
What
it's
if
legal.
vodka tastes like earwax? Listen,
That's what the sliding window is
again,
for.
we're from the Philly area. Nothing scares us, so bring it on.
Yeah.
As long as it's legal. Yeah, if it's like above board, because I had some. It was some sort of Chinese liquor where it just tasted like it shouldn't be. Legal.
I gave it to you.
Was that you?
Yeah. That's
that was
Baijiu.
So bad.
I was the one who gave you the Baijiu. It's like brake cleaner on acid.
I'll admit you distilled something.
Oh no, I distilled the PBR.
That
yeah,
was
well,
the
you-
fucking.
You distilled
this guy-
distilled PBR black.
This guy.
And that was not as bad as the
You
the,
bought
the
a
Vosges or whatever the
distillation
hell.
machine.
Oh no, essential oil extractor for all
Okay.
feds in there.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
well,
and
look,
it-
distillation is just boiling water. It's such a.
Essential oil
I know.
extraction.
You could do it with a pot though. It's ridiculous.
And you put PBR into the essential oil machine, and out came the stuff. Out came the stuff I use for what's that foamy stuff?
You could you were degreasing bolts with it.
Yeah, it's parts cleaner is what came out of this thing. I smelled it, and it just
smelled like beer. It did have a little whiff.
No,
of
no.
beer.
So it's funny because as we were making it, the initial heads tasted like pizza crust.
That's the big question. Is like I know what the final product tasted like. What did it smell like?
Pizza crust.
Distilling. Oh, okay. So the good part boiled off.
Very legal, very cool. Says, how were the tenor saxes in your band?
Yeah.
What do you mean how? They were
North
there.
Idaho was weird down to all the affluent zealots. Yeah, I moved out of there in '97. If my parents had kept their property, they probably could have made $1 million on it. It was they moved there in the '80s when you could buy 100 acres for like $40,000.
Unreal.
And yeah, of like unlogged, like undeveloped land where it's like, oh, you have to cut it down to make your cabin. Turns out the forest was worth $1 million for logging rights.
Wow.
You know,
That's-
and passed up on a lot of stuff. Who knew? You
That's
know?
some Bulgarian real estate stuff.
That's like knowing you should have invested in Apple in the 70s. I mean, you know,
Of
like
course,
in retrospect, there's a lot of things you should have.
Knowing that when the pandemic hit, if I just put all of my money into
Moderna.
Nvidia. Well, yeah, it's true, but Nvidia held out longer.
True, but I had the opportunity to invest in
Nvidia.
Moderna when Moderna stock was $4 a share,
God
and by
damn.
the end of 2020, Moderna stock was like $300 a share.
Yeah.
It didn't stay there,
Right.
but goddamn, I was literally looking at it. I read like a Reddit post that was like, "Hey, this company Moderna, you should buy it right now."
I
Oh,
was
like,
just to let you know.
I will echo this from the chat. It's not a super chat. Bryce Graham says that Brian and friends, I wish Nick Roman was here. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he I mean, does he still live in like?
I'm sorry. Are we not good enough for you?
No, but
We're not enough.
He's the main other half of RCR, and you should have him on more often.
He's got family stuff tonight.
Are we not
I
enough?
did invite him
Understandably, he has a life, and that's
Matt has stated if he drives out to do the car thing, he'll bring you some of Holtstatler's Slow and Low Rock and Rye.
Who said that? Oh, that's the thing. I found some in New Jersey, but I mean, I would always take a drink of that. Who's the other Matt?
Other Matt's one of my friends.
Oh, okay. Because I am Matt. So there's always
Yes, other Matt.
there's always 3 Matts in a room if there's furries involved for some reason.
Oh, I'm feeling the hours.
Yeah, I mean, you're pushing on. You're 5 Matts from 2 hours.
That's I think that's plenty.
That means we got 5 more minutes. What can we talk about in 5 minutes?
Have you ever had to
come?
Have you ever had to clean up cum at a convention?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I heard one person say
Where?
no.
In a hallway, like a public
Which
area.
con was
Public
that?
area.
Oh,
Yes,
not at
yes.
Philadelphia.
No, not at FT.
I had a very exciting instance at last Philadelphia
What?
where I was using one of the stairwells to come down from my hotel room.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I smelled the very distinct smell of cigarettes. And at this point I had had a couple drinks and I came down and I'm kind of a face at Philadelphia. A lot of people know who I am. And I come down the stairs and here's these like 5 people standing on one of the landings in the fire stairs smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. And they see me come down and they go, "Oh shit." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are we in trouble?" And I just deadpan said, Not if you give me a puff off that cigarette and a sip of your beer." And they did. They gave me a whole cigarette and half a beer. And then I kept going down the stairs.
I mean, the amount of hallucinogenics soaked into that cigarette was something else.
Stairwells are negative pressure. They're designed to move smoke out of them anyway.
I do miss the Adams Mark, the old AC hotel
Yeah.
back in the day.
I don't.
The stairwell. I mean, because the stairwells were exterior balconies essentially.
Yep.
And you could hang your head out and yell 3 levels down to whoever's down there.
Understood.
And I have Polaroids of people sticking their heads out and like yelling at each other.
We on the Philadelphia side of things are very happy that Anthrocon decided to move to Pittsburgh and made
they
way
needed
for
the
us.
Space.
Who?
I
What?
mean, there's no 10,000 person venue that you can use here.
And what?
What?
What are you talking about?
Well, there's the convention center, but
Not really that
Man
much.
doesn't know. How much time have you spent looking up venues in Philadelphia?
0, because I don't
Zero.
care.
Man is just saying facts that I know it's true because I made it up.
I
read it in a dream.
No, not even a dream. I just said it, so now it's true.
Philadelphia
Anyway, the sky is
has the
green.
largest ballroom on the eastern seaboard.
Is that the old Reading train shed? that
Yes.
room?
No,
Yeah.
it's in the convention center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's the other
above.
side. Yeah. The
no,
train-
no. It's the like
It's where
the
the
west.
it's where the auto show is the main.
The west
room.
side of the convention center, the train hall is cool as hell, but the west side of the convention center has the largest ballroom on the eastern seaboard. I think it's like 70,000 square feet.
It's the
or
largest
something.
ball.
Oh, it's massive. It's absolutely massive.
I was
No,
there for the
our convention has a potential
PAX
for
Unplugged
growth
was
that
there,
is
yeah.
unheard of.
And now, I think that we've used our last 5 minutes.
No,
was
there's
cool.
158.23. You still have a minute and a half.
Oh, a minute and a
Come,
half?
come, 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 come.
Thank you so much
This is
for watching
good.
Regular
This
Friends.
is time for everyone in the chat to crank one in the next 60 seconds.
Do it. Lightning round. Thank you so much
No
for
paper
watching.
towels.
Thank you so much for watching Regular Friends. I'm Brian.
I'm Drain, chairman of Furrydelphia.
I'm afraid.
And behind our production desk is Matt.
I'm Matt, just hanging out.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to use the last 45 seconds or so that we have for a quick plug. We're thinking about starting this up as well. So if we have the option, I hope to someday welcome both you guys onto the Furrydelphia podcast.
For sure. Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Pound it, my man.
Matt, all you have to do on the laptop is just go to stop streaming and
Goodbye,
click stop
friends.
streaming.